properly. I was actually asking you about the location. Could you?
You see, this is the very location where this happened.
Okay.
I am showing this clip from right outside that hotel room where Vinod Tawde was caught doing cash for vote yesterday, which is why there are multiple FIRs against him and investigation will be done. In the meantime, Supriya Suleji has already clarified that she will be going for a defamation, criminal civil defamation suit against the BJP and this whole collusive plan that has been designed to target the opposition, because we have fought this election with people's issues at the core of our whole.
Okay, I'll give the okay, I'll come back to you and I'll give the BJP spokesperson also time to respond. We have some breaking news now coming in at this point in time. We are learning that India and China defense ministers have met, and this is the first defense ministers meet after the LSE thaw. After the foreign ministers, now defense ministers of both India and China have met. This is some big development now that has taken place. My colleague Ghazali also joining us on the broadcast here. Ghazali, big development coming in. We're learning now the meeting has taken place between Defense Minister of India, Rajnath Singh, as well as his Chinese counterpart. Take us through the details.
Yeah, this is a very significant meeting because it comes weeks after New Delhi and Beijing reached an agreement to break the border thaw by agreeing to pull their troops along the line of actual control to the pre-2020 position, the year that saw a deadly clash between forces of both nations in Galwan. So there were talks that after Prime Minister Narendra Modi held bilateral talks with Chinese President on the margins of the BRICS summit last month, it was also decided that there would be further discussion for the next phase in the peace-building process on the line of actual control. And we're expecting that today, during this meeting, which is happening in Lao DPR in Vientiane, the 11th Asian Defense Ministers meeting plus, both the parties will certainly discuss the further movement across LAC as well as the larger peace-building process, which even the Foreign Minister, Mr. Jaishankar, has said that first the disengagement plan was agreed upon, activated, and now the next phase is very much likely there. There are lots of meetings which are expected to happen between officials who are working on the border dispute on both sides. So that is special secretary which is concerned with the issues of land border from both countries will be meeting. So these are expected meetings in the coming future. But today's meeting is very significant because for the first time after the disengagement talks happened, our own defense minister is meeting his Chinese counterparts.
Absolutely. It's a big step by both sides in bringing normalcy in the relationship between India and China. And we do understand many more meetings are lined up. Well, India and China defense ministers have already met. And before that, we've seen the foreign ministers of both countries had also met for an important meeting. Thank you so much, Ghazali, for getting us all those details there. Let me now go across to the BJP spokesperson here. I'll go to Mr. Sandeep Shastri after that. Siddharth, if you could respond to the charges here that were leveled by Mahima Singh of the Congress party.
What is more interesting to note is that on that seat, Congress is not even on fight. It is the Bahujan Vikas Aghadi which is on fight. In the same hotel, one meeting was being conducted by Bahujan Vikas Aghadi. On another floor, there was a meeting by the Bharatiya Janata Party of the booth adhyakshis. And since Congress party doesn't have the cadre till that level, they do not probably even understand what booth adhyakshis are and what meetings have to happen. Before the polling and when the campaign ends, our meetings happen all the way in all states, in all seats of what has to be done on the polling day. A very senior leader of ours, Vinod Tawdeji, National General Secretary, since was passing by, went there. Now I have just one question to ask. Okay. If 5 crore rupees were there, how many notes in 500 rupees notes would be there? 1 lakh notes. 1 lakh notes. If one stack has 100 notes, how many stacks would be there? 1,000 stacks. There should be more than 100 bags. But
okay, we are talking about...
there should be 1 lakh notes, there should be 1,000 stacks, but what money was there? Nothing. Okay. The 10 lakh rupee, probably, under 10 lakh rupees, a letter by the Bharatiya Janata Party was already given that the money that has to be given for food packets on different booths, that was already intimated to the Election Commission. This is just dirty tips and tricks of the Congress party who is not even on fight there. Rather, this is for them to hide the big amounts of 200 plus crores in bitcoins, the audio tapes that have come out of senior leaders, the state president Nana Patole, of their allies. They all
Okay, you're
just
saying
probably,
that
you know,
there is no evidence
since
to
they
the
want
fact
to
that
put it under the
that
carpet,
your leader
they
was
are
involved, and that is what the
discussing
Congress
issues
also
where
says,
Congress
that the
party is not
Congress.
even concerned.
Okay, let the
Allow me,
Congress
please.
spokesperson
Allow
respond.
me. Allow me.
Yes, Mahimaji, go ahead.
Yeah. You see we want to ask a simple question. Does the National General Secretary of the BJP not know about the provisions in Model Code of Conduct? Do they not know about the guidelines of Model Code of Conduct? He was not to be found in another
No, would the National General
constituency
Secretary of
rather than
BJP
his
be
own.
distributing cash?
Rather than
Is
his
that
own
what you are saying?
constituency. Allow me to speak uninterrupted,
Okay,
please.
okay,
You
please
see,
go ahead. I have to go to Mr.
the
Raja
BJP
Avasti
General
also.
Secretary was violating the Model Code of Conduct on more than one fronts. He was number one is that he was present in a place apart from his own constituency. That is one violation. Number two is this cash for vote, which is prima facie very evident. And I think which is why the Election Commission had to take cognizance,
How
even
is
though
it evident? What is this?
Okay.
Number,
All
Where
the
did the money
CCTV
go?
footage check or the audio clip check, that is all going to happen later on. But the polling, of
The
course,
clip-
is happening today. And whether this is going to have an impact on the voters or not, that is what matters the most. Many say, I mean, the analysts here, experts here on our broadcast say that it's not really going to have much of an impact on the voting that's taking place today. So I think both BJP and Congress spokespersons can breathe easy.
As Aarti ji said, this is not going to be a huge vote changer. Now, it will strengthen the feelings of those who are already supporting a party, and it will also strengthen the feelings of people who do not want to vote for a particular party. So I don't think such allegations largely swing votes away from one party to another. And my point is being made for both the alliances and both the types of charges which are coming.
Right.
In a sense, this is a sad commentary that today people are not looking for facts but are looking for facts to justify what they want to do. And this is the challenge that we are facing in this allegation and counter-allegation that is coming up.
All right, and a lot happens that we don't really expect in politics. I mean, there have been reports of clashes, altercations also that have happened. I mean, it's a huge state, we do understand, ma'am. 288 seats, of course, is this something that tells you, is this testament to the fact that it's a very intense fight between alliances, between parties also, as we've been talking about it? It's not just one or two parties, two or three parties, I would say rather. It's six parties. It's a huge intense battle.
Just on the issue of all this money, you know, there's only one election that the Election Commission cancelled when money was found, and that was the Tirumangalam election in Tamil Nadu. I'm not looking at one party or the other party. I'm looking at the role of the Election Commission and what it's going to do.
Right.
Because voting is over now,
Exactly.
and if it's an unfair election, it should be cancelled.
Absolutely. Let me go across to political analyst Raja Avasti here as well on the broadcast with us. Mr. Raja Avasti, what's your assessment of the Maharashtra election, of the Jharkhand election, and of course the UP bypolls? It's being said it's a litmus test for India bloc and the BJP. The India bloc, of course, performed fairly well in UP in the previous election, but this time around, what's your assessment?
UP will be a close fight. And that's why I think Congress left 2 seats for its ally, Samajwadi Party. But going back to Jharkhand or Maharashtra, we are missing 2 things. One is the lower voter turnout, and the second thing is the fight between the uncle and the nephew came out open now. It was not there in the parliament election. This time the supporters are fighting out there in the open. So that's a big thing.
Okay. What do you think? How important is the voter turnout in this election? I mean, we do understand there is not really any emotive issue as was in the case of the Lok Sabha election. The voter turnout.
I don't think
Yes.
the difference between Jharkhand and Maharashtra is around 17 to 18%. That's a hell of a lot. I think till 3 o'clock it was 61% Jharkhand and
Yes.
47% Maharashtra. And Bombay was 27% only.
Yes, absolutely, yes.
So that shows the lower turnout of voting in Maharashtra.
Ma'am, what do you think? How is this really going to play out? I mean, how important is the voter turnout here in this election that we're looking at?
So let's, wait till the final numbers come in, because, these numbers do tend to go up and voting has not ended yet. And then the next day we find that, in fact, during the Lok Sabha polls, there was a lot of controversy because suddenly numbers went up by 5% and so on.
Yes, and the
small
parties.
point with your permission.
Yes.
There is an issue coming up in big metros, and I'm starting with Bangalore and relating it to Mumbai. When there was a low voter turnout in the Lok Sabha poll in Bangalore, we actually did a study of 50 households, where there were an average of 6 voters registered in each household, so 300 voters. Of those 300, only 200 were actually present. The other 100 were either outside India or outside Karnataka. So they were registered as voters but not going to vote. And this is a common trend you are seeing in metros. That the number of voters registered is much more than who are actually present in Mumbai on the day of voting. And because Maharashtra has a one-day poll, what is likely to happen, those who have moved from rural areas to Mumbai for work have preferred to go back to their areas and vote in their areas rather than vote in Mumbai.
But, I would like to, sort of compare this to Jharkhand. If you look at, the tribals in Jharkhand, many of them are actually working outside Jharkhand, I mean, we see them all over Delhi, for instance, and they are in various metros working in various capacities.
But they
go back to vote. I mean, I know people who have actually taken the train back to Jharkhand just 4 days to cast their vote because they think it's important. And particularly, this time it's been so emotive in Jharkhand about this tribal identity and so on, that they actually went back to vote. And I would say that in Maharashtra, like we saw in the Lok Sabha polls, the Lok Sabha polls also, Maharashtra showed a lower voter turnout on the whole as compared to some other parts. And this time also, I think we're going to see a lower voter turnout. Last time, 5 years ago, the voter turnout in Maharashtra was 61.5% or something, and it looks like we're not going to reach that figure. I think it just reflects, apathy or disillusionment of the voter in the way Maharashtra politics has gone into this, total fragmentation, the confusion, the, uncertainty, families fighting families. I mean, look at the number of families that are fighting, this time. Uncle fighting nephew, son fighting somebody else, and it's just incredible. So I think there is a disillusionment in the voter in Maharashtra.
Okay, all right. We'll put this to rest here with that remark here by Aarti Jairaj. Thank you so much, Aditi ma'am. Thank you so much, Sandeep Shastriji, as well as to the guest here on the broadcast, the BJP spokesperson, as well as the Congress spokesperson, as well as Mr. Raja Avasthi for joining us here on the broadcast. We don't have much time here, but yes, the conversations will continue and the polling is going to end at around 6 p.m. Well, the result will be on November 23rd and the picture is going to be all clear then. But yes, before that, analysis and assumptions, but let's see what the results really hold for the major political parties in Maharashtra as well as in Jharkhand, where it is believed to be a fierce contest between the JMM Congress Alliance and the BJP. Well, with that, it's time for a short break here. We'll be right back with more.
Hello, Moto.
Motorola Edge 50 Pro, world's first AI-powered pro-grade camera.
Maharashtra and Jharkhand decide as voting is going to be over at 6 p.m. In Mumbai, voters have turned out in less numbers. However, celebs show the way and turn out early in the morning to vote. Maharashtra votes in high-stakes battle. The polling ends at 6 p.m. clashes have taken place in Nasik and Parli in Maharashtra as the voting still continues.
I now request the Honorable Prime Minister to launch NDTV World and address the summit.
It was the grand launch of NDTV World by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. NDTV World, as he laid out his vision for the India century at the NDTV World Summit.
ऐसी सदी जिसमें भारत के प्रयासों से दुनिया में स्थिरता आए,
in the presence of those who are shaping our future.
मेरी तरफ से आपको ढेर सारी शुभकामनाएं हैं।
NDTV World, your new home for global news is here. Stay informed and entertained with the new and updated NDTV News app. You can watch all our channels live, listen to podcasts, read breaking and exclusive news from around the world and more. Download the NDTV app today and get access to the best journalism and storytelling on your smartphone or tablet. The NDTV app. News that matters to you. NDTV proudly upholds its legacy of trust and credibility. According to the prestigious Reuters Institute's Digital News Report 2024, NDTV is the top-most news platform in the country. Number one in both online and offline reach in India, beating all its competition. NDTV stands for trust.
Hello and welcome to India Sense, where I speak with global opinion makers.
The United States has made a strategic decision over the last 20 years to move closer to India.
So a $7 trillion economy seems a perfectly conceivable number.
If you want to be a national party, it's that you sort of accept the way the world is rather than want to endlessly hark back to how it was.
Modi is promoting the digitization of the economy, which is accelerating growth in the country.
I want to thank the American people for the extraordinary honor of being elected your 47th president.
Donald triumphs. What does Trump's win mean for America, for the world, for the wars, and for India-US relations? Non-stop coverage on NDTV. Top analysts and voices from the ground.
Welcome back after the break. It's a shocker from Tamil Nadu. There was a shocking attempt to murder caught on camera. We're learning a lawyer was hacked brutally outside the court premises. Well, this advocate was brutally hacked in broad daylight, and this incident has taken place in Krishnagiri in Tamil Nadu. We're learning the police have also arrested a suspect in connection with the case. My colleague Sam is also now joining us on the broadcast here. Sam, what more details do we have about this case? Who's responsible for this?
Well, Kitty, police say this accused who has been now arrested is working as an assistant to a lawyer in the same court, in a court at Hosur in Krishnagiri district of Tamil Nadu. And he had brutally attacked a lawyer called Kannan outside the Hosur city court. And the police say these two had personal issues in the past. The issue had gone to the police station, later to the court, and then they had struck a compromise. It's in that context they are investigating. The condition of the attacked lawyer is quite critical. He's being treated at a private hospital. And this happened in full public glare when dozens of people were helplessly watching this attack outside the court. And lawyers also took to the streets asking for a law to be enacted the way doctors have now for their protection. And this happened on a day when another woman lawyer in a school in Tanjavur district, several hundred kilometers away, was stabbed on the school campus and ultimately she died. In her case, it was a man who she had turned down for marriage. And this has raised several questions in terms of law and order in Tamil Nadu, particularly by the opposition. Both AIADMK chief and leader of opposition Edappadi Palaniswamy and state BJP chief Annamalai have raised this question. EPS saying that killing in public glare has become a kind of a norm in the state and has slammed the ruling DMK and has urged Chief Minister M.K. Stalin to crack down on this. While Annamalai says this is a kind of a shameful reflection of law and order and M.K. Stalin ought to be ashamed of this. There's no formal response yet from the ruling DMK on this, but police sources indicate that this is out of personal enmity and it cannot be seen as a larger reflection of law and order. But certainly in terms of numbers, this may not be really that big, but certainly in terms of public perception, events like this or attacks like this certainly trigger a kind of a fear psychosis among the public.
This kind of an attack happens in broad daylight, it's certainly going to raise questions on the law and order situation in the state. And the opposition is right in asking those questions, of course. Those questions need to be asked. And at the same time, it's very much necessary to ensure the safety of the citizens of this state. Well, thank you so much, Sam, for getting us all those details there. We'll come back to you later and try and get more details about this. Meanwhile, there was a key meeting that took place between Union Home Minister Amit Shah and Chhattisgarh Chief Minister. We are learning now in this meeting, the Chief Minister has briefed the Union Home Minister on the Naxal situation of the state. What has been informed to the Union Home Minister is that there were over 200 Naxalites who were killed in the last 11 months as per the details. Well, let's listen in to Chhattisgarh Chief Minister.
माननीय गृह मंत्री श्री अमित शाह जी से अभी मुलाकात हुई और उनको छत्तीसगढ़ में जो नक्सल गतिविधि चल रही है उसके विषय में अवगत कराया और उनके मार्गदर्शन में और डबल इंजन की सरकार होने के कारण हम लोग बहुत मजबूती के साथ नक्सलवाद के साथ लड़ाई लड़ रहे हैं। पिछले 11 महीनों में करीब 200 नक्सली मारे गए हैं और करीब 600-700 नक्सली आत्मसमर्पण किए हैं और उतने ही की गिरफ्तारी भी हुई है और बहुत ही मजबूती के साथ लड़ाई लड़ रहे हैं।
All right, shifting our focus now to some more news that we're tracking. Well, as the UP by-poll voting takes place, there was a scuffle that took place between an AIMIM candidate and between the cops. Well, UP's Mirapur candidate, Arshad's son, has been taken into custody by the police officials. There was an altercation over taking the mobile phone to the poll booth and, turned into a huge spat, and there was a scuffle that took place between the police officials and the AIMIM candidate, after which his son was taken to the police station. All right, by-polls in 9 constituencies in UP is taking place today. Well, this election is pivotal for both ruling BJP and opposition Samajwadi Party, especially after the setback for the BJP in the recently held Lok Sabha polls. It's also being seen as a litmus test for Akhilesh Yadav Samajwadi Party. Remember, Congress is not contesting these polls but is supporting the SP as a part of the India bloc. 9 seats in UP, Mirapur, Kundarki, Ghaziabad, Khair, Karhal, Shishamau, Fulpur, Kateri and Majwan are voting today.
आपके अपोजिंग कैंडिडेट प्रत्याशी है सिंहराज जाटव, उनका ये कहना है कि ये जो लाइन पार एरियाज है, अभी जैसे कि हम प्रताप विहार में है, यहाँ पर बीजेपी का उतना स्ट्रॉन्ग होल्ड नहीं है। इस पर आपका क्या रिस्पांस रहेगा कि अंडरस्टैंडिंग नहीं है लाइन पार एरियाज की?
पता नहीं वो क्यों कह रहे हैं, वरना पिछले चुनावों के 4 आंकड़े उठाकर देख लीजिए, हमेशा भारतीय जनता पार्टी यहाँ से बहुत आगे रही है। और इस बार भी मुझे लगता है कि जो वोट पड़ेगा उसमें 70 से 75% वोट भारतीय जनता पार्टी को पड़ने वाला है।
कौन से मेन मुद्दे हैं सर जिस पे आप मतलब इफ इलेक्टेड आप काम करने का सोचोगे? ऐसे कौन से 3 मेन मुद्दे होंगे जो गाजियाबाद में आपको लगता है कि ज़रूरत है काम की?
देखिए, काम की आवश्यकता तो हमेशा रहती है। ये लोग जानबूझकर लाइन पार क्षेत्र आप देखिए इतना डेवलप हो चुका है, और इस क्षेत्र में पूरे गाजियाबाद में सबसे महंगी ज़मीन है, क्योंकि इसकी कनेक्टिविटी इतनी अच्छी है। सामने नोएडा है, 15 मिनट पर दिल्ली है, आधा घंटे पर मेरठ है, 2 मिनट में गाजियाबाद है। सबसे अच्छी कनेक्टिविटी वाला ये क्षेत्र है। इस क्षेत्र का विकास जितना हुआ है पिछले भाजपा की सरकारों में, उतना किसी क्षेत्र का नहीं हुआ है। ये लोग केवल एक सिंपैथी लेते हुए लाइन पार। अब ये लाइन पार नहीं है, अब ये गाजियाबाद साउथ है।
सर, आप यहाँ पर सिटिंग एमएलए जो थे, आपकी क्या समझ है इस बार इलेक्शन से कि यहाँ पे जो वोटिंग डेमोग्राफिक अभी है और जो वोट शेयर है दलित्स का भी, एससी कम्युनिटी का भी?
देखिए, बहुत सारे लोगों को, जो लोग दलित हैं, पिछड़े हैं, उनको बहकाया जाता है, और क्योंकि वो लोग भोले भाले होते हैं तो कई बार उन्हें कास्टिज्म के जाल में उलझा दिया जाता है। उसका असर तो रहेगा है, लेकिन नरेंद्र मोदी के आने के बाद बहुत बड़ी मात्रा में लोगों ने अब देश के लिए, विकास के लिए वोट देना शुरू किया है। तभी आज नरेंद्र मोदी प्रधानमंत्री हैं और तभी आज योगी जी दोबारा मुख्यमंत्री हैं।
सर, अभी जो इलेक्शंस हो रहे हैं, वोटिंग हो रही है, सपा का ये कहना है कि ईवीएम में मैल फंक्शंस हो रहे हैं और ये गाजियाबाद में ही कई बूथ्स पर हो रहे हैं।
ऐसा है कि वो लोग फिर से लोगों को बहकाना चाहते हैं। जब चुनाव आयोग ईवीएम की मशीन रख करके ये पूछता है कि इसमें मेल फंक्शन करके दिखाओ, आप किसी भी तरीके से करके दिखाओ, जब उसमें हो ही नहीं सकता तो कोई कैसे कर देगा मेल फंक्शन? ठीक है। और ये गाजियाबाद जो है, सिर्फ एक बार अगर छोड़ दिया जाए तो करीब 1989 से लगातार लोकसभा सीट जीतता हुआ आया है, और विधानसभा की सीट हमने एक बार लूज़ करी है, वरना विधानसभा भी हम जीते हैं। तो उस टाइम पर तो ईवीएम भी नहीं थी। तो अब कुछ तो लोग कहेंगे, लोगों का काम है कहना।
सर, यहाँ इस कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसी में बीजेपी का इससे पहले हमेशा जीत रही है, इसको आप कैसे देखते हो? क्या मेन मुद्दे हैं जिस पर काम लगता है आपको होना चाहिए?
देखिए, जिस तरह से भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने यहाँ पे पिछले 3 टर्म से सांसद यहाँ उनके हैं, 2 बार अभी मौजूदा सांसद भी बीजेपी के हैं, जिस तरह से 1996 से लेकर अभी तक मेयर जो है भारतीय जनता पार्टी के बने, और पिछली 2 योजनाओं में विधायक यहाँ से भारतीय जनता पार्टी के बने, मगर उन्होंने इस गाजियाबाद विधानसभा में का जो ये एक मेजर पार्ट है, जिसको हम लाइन पार क्षेत्र बोलते हैं, विजयनगर बोलते हैं, यहाँ के मतदाताओं को हमेशा से इग्नोर करने का काम किया, उनको उपेक्षित महसूस कराने का काम किया। उनकी जो मूलभूत ज़रूरत है उनको कहीं ना कहीं उनको पूरा ना करने का काम उन्होंने किया। इस वजह से जो इस बार जनता ने अपना मन बनाया है, वो चाहते हैं कि इस बार बदलाव हो।
सर, बीजेपी उत्तर प्रदेश ने इलेक्शन कमीशन को पत्र लिखा है और कहा है कि फेक वोटिंग हो रही है, फेक वोट्स कास्ट हो रहे हैं, एंड ऑफ कोर्स एलेज किया है कि ये एसपी के द्वारा हो रही है, कि फेक वोटिंग कास्ट हो रही है उत्तर प्रदेश में।
देखिए, आप समझ सकते हैं कि किस तरह से अगर कोई व्यक्ति या कोई पार्टी अगर उनका जनाधार घट रहा हो, तो आपने देखा जिस तरह से अभी लोकसभा के जो एक जनरल इलेक्शन हुए उसमें 37 सीटें जो है वो समाजवादी पार्टी ने जीती, 6 सीटें जो है वो कांग्रेस ने जीती, टोटल इंडिया गठबंधन ने 43 सीटें जीती और 1 सीट जो है वो चंद्रशेखर जी ने जीती। तो 80 में से 44 सीट जब उनके हाथ से निकली हैं तो उनको अब कहीं ना कहीं एहसास होने लगा है कि जो अभी तक वो धर्म और जाति की राजनीति करते थे, जिस तरह से वो हिंदू मुसलमान की राजनीति करते थे, जिस तरह से वो मंदिर और मस्जिद की राजनीति करते थे, अब लोग उससे कहीं ना कहीं तंग आ चुके हैं। अब वो कहते हैं कि हमें रोजगार चाहिए, हमें व्यापार चाहिए, हमें विकास चाहिए, डेवलपमेंट चाहिए।
Well, we are shifting our focus now to some visuals that have come in just a while back. Bollywood's King Khan, Shah Rukh Khan, was seen voting in Mumbai. Bollywood A-listers have come out and cast their votes, also showing the way here in Mumbai, even as there has been a low voter turnout so far in Mumbai. But celebs, of course, have come out of their houses and have been seen casting their votes. It's a high voltage battle in Maharashtra, and polling is taking place, still taking place. It's continuing across 288 constituencies. Those visuals of Gauri Khan, Shah Rukh Khan and their daughter, as well as their son, here at a polling booth in Mumbai when they went to cast their votes. Well, huge security also, as can be seen here at this polling booth, and for Shah Rukh Khan as well, as he's come with his family to vote. Well, in the morning we've seen a lot of Bollywood celebs, including Akshay Kumar, Hema Malini also going to cast their votes. But the voting still continues, and it's going to continue for the next 10 minutes or so. And these visuals of Shah Rukh Khan and Suhana Khan, Gauri Khan, as well as their son here coming from a poll booth in Mumbai. Shifting our focus now in Punjab, by-polls are taking place for 4 assembly seats. That's Gidarbaha, Barnala, Dera Baba Nanak and Chabewal. Well, the ruling Aam Aadmi Party is facing a tough contest against both Congress and BJP in what has turned into a 3-way competition. In 2022 elections, remember, the Congress had secured 3 of these constituencies, with the Aam Aadmi Party holding only the Barnala seat. Well, we have reactions coming in. We've had these exclusive conversations with Amrita Singh Waring, who's fighting on the Gidarbaha seat. Also, we've spoken to other candidates who are also in the fray. Listen in.
हमारे साथ अमृता वड़िंग आइए, उनसे बात कर रहे हैं। तो मैम, आज फाइनल डे है टेस्ट का, तो कैसे देख रहे हैं?
बहुत अच्छा महसूस हो रहा है, बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है। फाइनली थोड़ी रिलैक्स्ड हो।
जो आपके विरोधी हैं, फॉर्मर फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर हैं, वहीं हम देख रहे हैं डिम्पी ढिल्लों हैं, जो पहले अकाली दल से इलेक्शन लड़ चुके हैं, इस बार आम आदमी पार्टी से लड़ रहे हैं। एक तरह की सरकार है आपके पीछे, वो कह रहे हैं हम डेवलपमेंट के मुद्दे पे वोट मांग रहे हैं। तो कैसे देख रहे हैं आप अपोनेंट्स को?
मैं देख नहीं रही हूँ, मैं ज़्यादा इस चीज़ को देख नहीं रही हूँ। जो काम किए हैं वो लोगों के बीच में हैं, लोगों के बीच में रह के किए हैं, एक शांति का माहौल दिया है, लेकिन उसके साथ साथ एक दहशत का माहौल ख़त्म किया। और वो लोग जानते हैं, मेरे कहने पे या किसी के कहने पे कहने की ज़रूरत नहीं है। जिन लोगों को ये शांति दी है ना, आप कृपया उनसे पूछिए जाके।
एक डिम्पी ढिल्लों जो आपके ओपोनेंट है, वो ये कह रहे हैं इस बार लोग लोकल कैंडिडेट को प्रेफर कर रहे हैं। कह रहे हैं आपकी तो वोट भी नहीं यहाँ पे, ना राजा वड़िंग की ना आपकी है।
क्या फ़र्क पड़ता है? क्या फ़र्क पड़ता है? देखिए, पिछले 13 साल से राजा वड़िंग ने गिदरबाहा को वो कुछ दिया है जो किसी फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर ने, किसी हल्का इंचार्ज डिम्पी जी रहे हैं, इनमें से कोई कुछ नहीं दे पाया।
बहुत सालों के बाद राजनीति में एक औरत को टिकट मिली है, तो क्या उसका भी आपको कहीं ना कहीं लाभ दिखता नजर आ रहा है?
मुझे लाभ हो या ना हो, औरतों को लाभ जरूर होगा। ये औरतों की इलेक्शन है।
All right, on that note, it's time to wrap this edition. More news and updates will continue on the other side. Stay tuned.
Hello, Moto.
Motorola Edge 50 Pro, world's first AI-powered pro-grade camera.
Prime Minister Modi has landed in Guyana as he completes his 3-nation tour. PM Modi is the first Indian Prime Minister to visit the country in 56 years.
We reached an agreement on patrolling. We have gone back to where the situation was in 2020. And we can say with that the disengagement process with China, you can say, has been completed. The understanding, to my knowledge, is that we will be able to do the patrolling which we were doing in 2020.
NDTV proudly presents NDTV World Summit 2024, the India Century. I now request the Honorable Prime Minister to launch NDTV World and address the summit.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi's inaugural session at the NDTV Summit outlined his vision for the India Century, driven by aspirational India.
हमारा प्रयास होगा भारत की सेंचुरी सिर्फ भारत की नहीं बल्कि पूरी मानवता की जीत की सेंचुरी बने.
The summit brought together prominent global leaders, highlighting India's pivotal role on the world stage.
Not just Indians trusting India's leadership, but the global South especially trusting India's leadership.
Permanent seat on the UN Security Council is something that should be India's right.
Canada is concerned, I think there are some very specific issues. I think a lot of people know that.
AI is going to be one of the most important, drivers.
It's a very exciting time for India, Indian cinema as well at a global level.
NDTV World Summit was more than just a conversation. It was a confluence of ideas poised to shape our global future.
घोषणा आणि जनतेचे पैसे लुटणं.
कट कमिशन आणि करप्शनला आमच्याकडे थारा नाही. त्यांचा परिवारवाद आमचा
महाराष्ट्रामध्ये 1,75,000 जागा रिक्त आहेत. पण का भरत नाही? राज्याची जनतेच्या घमाच्या पैशाची तिजोरी लुटण्यासाठी हे सरकार आहे.
पूर्वीच्या सरकारच्या काळामध्ये निधी देताना त्यांना असं वाटायचं की त्यांच्याच खिशातले पैसे चालले. शेतकऱ्यांना मोफत वीज देण्याचं काम आपल्या सरकारने सुरू केलं.
The last elections of 2024. It's the battle for India's economic heart. An election that will decide Maharashtra's future.
Can the big brother BJP manage the competing ambitions of Mahayuti? Can the Red Book rally the voters once again for Congress and its allies? So as Maharashtra's future trajectory takes shape, we report from the ground.
Two visions, two ideology, one verdict. An election where no caste chemistry can yield a perfect formula.
It's a state that is splintered with power battles. The big question, will Maharashtra poll outcome unify parties or divide them further? And who will emerge as Maharashtra's undisputed leader?
It's a web of frauds, calls, luring emails, threatening messages. Cyber frauds have cast their net wide and everyone is at risk. We track the victims, their horror stories as they get conned online, extorted and robbed of their hard-earned money. How to identify a cyber fraud and how to stay cyber safe. What are your options? Fraud.con, NDTV initiative for cyber safety. Only on NDTV 24/7.
I've been reporting on all issues, big and small, from Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, rest of South India, bringing you all the action, all that you need to know, all that you want to know.
The energy of Maximum City is infectious. I bring in that energy in our news coverage from financial capital Mumbai.
India's IT capital is always buzz. It's literally a city that never sleeps. And I keep you ahead on all the Bengaluru buzz.
Covering from the southernmost part of India over the last 23 years, I bring in-depth and 360-degree coverage from the Dravidian heartland.
The land of Mishti is also known for its bitter politics. I have seen much water flow under the Howrah Bridge, covering Bengal in all its vivid colors.
today's interconnected world, India's voice is more crucial than ever. When India speaks, the world listens. At NDTV World, we are that voice, bringing you intelligent and insightful news from India and beyond. From geopolitics and diplomacy to economic shifts, migrations, tech disruptions, and the stories of our diaspora. We cover the news that shapes our global future. NDTV World, your new home for global news, is here.
I now request the Honorable Prime Minister to launch NDTV World and address the summit.
It was the grand launch of NDTV World by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. NDTV World, as he laid out his vision for the India century at the NDTV World Summit.
कैसी सदी जिसमें भारत के प्रयासों से दुनिया में स्थिरता आए,
in the presence of those who are shaping our future.
मेरी तरफ से आपको ढेर सारी शुभकामनाएं हैं।
NDTV World, your new home for global news, is here. Stay informed and entertained with the new and updated NDTV News app. You can watch all our channels live, listen to podcasts, read breaking and exclusive news from around the world and more. Download the NDTV app today and get access to the best journalism and storytelling on your smartphone.
Good evening and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to NDTV, our continuous coverage of the battle for the states. The showdown for 2024 ends as curtains on the voting in Maharashtra and second phase of Jharkhand. All 288 seats of Maharashtra have voted, and also 38 seats of Jharkhand. I'll get you all the details. Our reporters are on the ground, expert view on what we can make, the kind of indications that we are getting, because it has been, make no mistake about it, and battle in Maharashtra of intense narrative, betrayal. People were talking about alliances, and all the dramatic twists and turns have now ended as the EVMs are being sealed. In Jharkhand, it's the prestige battle. All the latest details here on NDTV, but first, the headlines. Maharashtra and Jharkhand voting over. Maharashtra till 5 p.m. 58.22% voter turnout. Jharkhand 67.6%. Mumbai still slow than the rest of the state, but better than the last time. 49% voting in Mumbai till 5 p.m. Tad better than last election in 2019. Celebs lead the way in Mumbai. Fierce face-off between Samajwadi Party and the BJP in Uttar Pradesh. A teen girl murdered in Samajwadi Party's bastion, where the family says killing for strongly supporting the BJP. Aam Aadmi Party, BJP and the Congress locked in a triangular fight on 4 seats of the by-polls in Punjab. Shocker from Tamil Nadu. A lawyer hacked in full public view. Assistant brutally attacks lawyer on a road. Ladies and gentlemen, it is 6:02 at this moment, and let me tell you at this time where, in Mumbai, in Maharashtra, and also in Jharkhand, in the bipoles of Uttar Pradesh and Punjab, at this moment, what I can tell you is if you are inside a polling booth, you are a voter, and in Maharashtra, you are inside the polling booth, you can vote. But apart from that, the voting has ended. The EVMs are being sealed, and the fate of candidates, 6, political parties in Maharashtra, very populated political space there, along with strong independents and regional satraps. Now the voting has ended. It has been a month of dramatic twists and turns, battle of narratives in Maharashtra, and what you are seeing at this moment is the EVMs being locked there. Jharkhand as well, the voting has ended. Will Hemant Soren emerge as the biggest tribal leader? Can he make a comeback? Is the BJP on its way to unseat, in fact, Hemant Soren? All those things now will be answered. Before I go further, let me very quickly once again tell you, because, a lot of discussion was on the voter turnout. And specifically talking about Mumbai so far, 49% voting has been recorded till 5 p.m., which is 1% better than if you compare it to 2019 election. On the other hand, in Jharkhand, overall, if you look at, Jharkhand, 47.6% voter turnout has been recorded in Jharkhand. So Jharkhand, in fact, coming out and voting in high numbers there. This has been the more or less the average as far as Jharkhand is concerned. And with this, it's curtains, ladies and gentlemen, on the last prestigious electoral battle of the states in Maharashtra. Let me very quickly go across to my colleagues Abira and Radhika, those who are joining us from Mumbai at this moment. Radhika, coming to you first. It's, the polling booths are being sealed. It's curtains on a very, very sharply and also a bitter political battle and a very, very, crowded political space of Maharashtra. It all comes to an end now.
Absolutely. It is a crowded political space. You're right. Earlier, it were 4 parties. When you look at 2019 and political landscape completely changing, completely transforming, and a lot of churn since 2019. So we have 6 political parties, 6 important political parties in fray, including 2 NCPs as well as 2 Senas. Now, if you look at the numbers, yes, pathetic numbers as far as Mumbai is concerned. Perhaps a little better than the last time, yet it hasn't crossed 50%, as far as the electoral trends are concerned. Despite the fact that the elections were conducted on a weekday, on a Wednesday, but despite that, absolutely no change in numbers, no considerable change in numbers. It hasn't crossed 50%. Politicians, celebrities came out in large numbers appealing to voters to come out. Between 7 a.m. and 10 a.m., we saw most of the polling booths empty, perhaps shorter lines, shorter queues. When you look at places such as Kolaba, Worli, Kolaba is the lowest, 41% is the turnout we are talking about as far as the constituency of Kolaba is concerned, followed by places like Worli and even places like Dharavi, which have reported a low voters turnout. So quite disappointing when you look at the fact that it happened on a Wednesday, the fact that there were a lot of appeals were made just ahead of elections, and also the fact that there were a lot of offers and discounts doled out by restaurants, eateries, film theatres for its patrons. But despite all of that, what we saw was, quite disappointing numbers as far as the turnout is concerned. And overall, Maharashtra turnout stands at 58%. So yes, what we are seeing is an I don't care attitude, an indifferent attitude as far as elections are concerned. We did speak to a lot of urban voters here. They did speak about a lot of issues, be it traffic, be it local issues, that we don't want a corrupt government. We don't want any sort of political conflict within parties, and these splits and divisions are confusing for the voters. These are some of the reactions that came in from a lot of urban voters, but the fact remains that a lot of the urban voters crib about, facts like there are issues when it comes to traffic,
Right.
the road, and development and so on. But despite that, none of them really came out in large numbers to vote. But yes, we'll have to see how things will play out when the results are announced on October 23rd.
Yes.
Will it be Mahayuti yet again, or will MVA be able to sort of come back and retain its position yet again?
Absolutely, and whatever happens on 23rd November, it is going to be, trust and make no mistake about it, it's just not Maharashtra, it is going to have far-reaching consequences in the politics of the country as well. Let me very quickly also bring in Abira, but before I do that, let's very quickly, ladies and gentlemen, just play out for you. Through the day, there have been top, political bigwigs whose, many would say their fortunes are being decided at this moment by the voters. Some of them, possibly, their political careers being decided in this election. Let's listen in to some of those reactions.
आज बहुत ही लोकशाही का एक पवित्र दिन है, ये उत्सव है, ये लोकशाही को समृद्ध और मजबूत करने वाला उत्सव है। इसमें सभी ने मिलकर इस उत्सव में सहभागी होना चाहिए, सभी ने वोट करना चाहिए। 2019 में क्या हुआ था, लोग आज भूले नहीं है, लोगों का मैंडेट क्या था, और लोगों का मैंडेट था महायुति, जनता का मैंडेट था महायुति, लेकिन सरकार महायुति की नहीं बनी, इसलिए वो लोगों के ध्यान में है।
जो मतदान का जो रुझान आ रहा है, कॉल आ रहा है, जो लोग मतदान के लिए जा रहे हैं, तो उसके आधार पर राज्य में कांग्रेस की सबसे ज़्यादा कैंडिडेट चुन के आएंगे और महाविकास आघाड़ी की सरकार आएंगी, इसमें कोई दो मत नहीं है। आपने देखा होगा कि कल भारतीय जनता पार्टी के राष्ट्रीय महासचिव विनोद तावड़े ये पैसे बांटते हुए पकड़े गए। बीजेपी आज पैसे बांटकर और दारू बांटकर चुनाव जीतना चाहते हैं, तो ये क्या नोट जिहाद है या दारू जिहाद है?
Well, I think the people of Maharashtra are coming out in much larger numbers. They are angry that despite having voted for a certain alliance in the past, there was a very unfortunate turn of events, due to which the vote which was given for a certain alliance was not truly able, we were not able to get a good government in Maharashtra. So I am very confident that this time they will give a reply to all those who betrayed the trust and vote which people had given in 2019.
Right. So, a lot of talk about the voter turnout, as my colleague was also speaking about Mumbai, a tad better than 2019, just 1% better than 2019. Overall, Maharashtra numbers till 5 p.m. is 58.20%. But it was good to see that a lot of celebrities today came out early in the morning to vote, possibly hoping that they would be able to draw their fans in as well. Sometimes it just seems that the elections matter more to the rural voter. People in the urban landscape, who comes, who goes, hardly matters to them. But let me very quickly bring in my colleague Abira. Abira, a hectic day for all our reporters, in fact, at this moment. All of you have been covering this election since morning, but it was good to see a lot of film stars coming out and voting and asking people to come out and vote as well.
Yes, absolutely. There were actors, there were directors who were coming out. I'm at the heart of where all the film stars live. So I'm in Bandra West at Pali Hill. A lot of, our Hindi film industry, actors and filmmakers are all around this place. So we saw Gulzar Saab coming out with his daughter Meghna Gulzar. But Meghna Gulzar talked about how sad it is to come and see an empty booth. She came around 11 o'clock and it was really sad. There was no one coming in, especially we saw all senior citizens coming in. Some in, they can't even walk, but there was no youngsters, no Gen Z. While Sunil Shetty, when we asked about the low turnout and, how Gen Z is not coming out to vote, so he said, it's early morning, maybe they'll come later, it can be a late night, they are young, but we waited all day, but the turnouts were quite poor and disappointing. We also saw Ranbir Kapoor. He has a time. He always comes between 3 and 4. So he came in at exact 3 o'clock, had made an appeal with the media and asked everybody to come and vote, because these appeals mean really something to these fans, because as we know, the Hindi film industry has a huge fan following. People do come out and vote when they listen to their own favorite actors talking about it.
Okay, and let's just play out some sound bites of the Bollywood stars coming out, asking other people to vote. It would have made more sense in the morning, but at least they did come out. Let's acknowledge that and play out some of those excerpts for you.
Well, I think let's forget the issues, and right now it's voting day and it's your birthright. You have to come and vote. So please vote, and if you haven't, it's open till, especially the Pali Hill place is open till 8 p.m. So please come and cast your vote.
मैं अपील करती हूँ सब लोगों से, जितनी भी जनता इस एरिया में है, आपके घर के पास है ये वोट देने का, आप जरूर वोट देने के लिए आइए और वोट दीजिए। ये आपका हक है, आपका ड्यूटी है वोट देना, ताकि आप अपना हक जता सकते हैं अपने सरकार के साथ। सो सही पार्टी को आप चुनकर वोट दीजिए।
और हमारा कॉमन मैन बहकेगा नहीं, ये आम आदमी हमारा वो सब जानता है, सब पहचानता है, अपनी ज़रूरत समझता है, और मुझे उम्मीद है कि वो इस बहकावे में नहीं आएगा और उसी को वोट करेगा जो उसका अपना इशू है।
The problem issues is even we have to be as responsible. बहुत सारे इशू हमारे खुद के भी है, सिविक सेंस हो, डिसिप्लिन हो, हम खुद मानते नहीं, हम मांगते सब कुछ है और डिलीवर खुद कुछ नहीं करते। लेकिन यही चाहूँगा कि मुंबई हमेशा एपी सेंटर रहा है बिजनेस का, हमेशा एपी सेंटर रहा है एंटरटेनमेंट का, वो ग्लोरी वापस आ जाए। और इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर का काम हो ही रहा है, ऑफ कोर्स यू सी बहुत ही अच्छा इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर का काम हो रहा है, वो सही वक्त पे हो, सही तरीके से हो, क्योंकि क्या है रोड्स स्ट्रक्चर्स आएंगे ही आएंगे, लेकिन साथ साथ ग्रीन कवर हो, पार्क्स हो लोगों के लिए, वो बेसिक्स होनी ही चाहिए।
Okay, so you heard all these people there voting, asking people to vote. I mean, and now, of course, the time is over. If you're still standing in the polling booth, only then you would be allowed to vote. But you can't enter a polling booth, now if you want to vote. Beg your pardon. But, it's just not Maharashtra. There was voting on the second phase of Jharkhand as well. And before I go to my colleagues, let me also introduce my panel of experts today. Exit poll is something that we will talk in a little bit. 6:30 is when the Election Commission says that you can indulge in that exercise. Many people at this moment feel they have burnt their hands too much and nobody wants to stick their neck out as far as exit polls are concerned. But eventually we will have something to talk about. Pradeep Bhandari, national spokesman of the BJP, is with us. Mahesh Chavan, spokesman of the NCP, Sharad Pawar, is also joining us. Hitesh Jain, senior advocate, political analyst, is also with us. Aarti Jairaj, senior journalist, and Sanjay Singh is also with us. He's a senior journalist. All of them have been very keen watchers of politics. But I just request your indulgence for a couple of more minutes. Let me also bring in and get a sense from the ground in Jharkhand. My colleague Prabhakar is joining us at this moment in Jharkhand. Ladies and gentlemen, the voting percentage has been better than what we have seen in Maharashtra. 67.6% polling percentage till 5 p.m. Prabhakar, what would you attribute this to? I mean, this polling percentage, there is still, the Election Commission, the voting would still be going on in some of the booths where people are still standing in queues. This is expected to touch almost 70%. It has been a satisfactory voting percentage when it comes to Jharkhand.
Not really, because the voting here has ended at 5 p.m. So there will be no further rise in the voting percentage. Now, attribution, if you ask me, the credit goes to the rural voters, because today what we saw was the apathy, the same apathy which we are talking about in Mumbai. When we were touring cities like Bokaro and Dhanbad, the big urban cities, the industrial cities of Jharkhand, the polling stations were almost empty. But when the moment we entered the rural areas, we saw long queues of women and men all lining up, and throughout the day they were there, and few of the booths we found out that the polling percentage was as high as 90%. So when they average it out after the day ends, actually it drags down to 60% or 70% or 65% because of those urban voters. Had they been participating with the equal enthusiasm, the percentage would have been much, much, much better. So if you compare it with Mumbai, of course, Jharkhand had done pretty well, but otherwise the credit for this goes to the rural voters of Jharkhand, I would say.
Rural voters of Jharkhand, but largely if you see at this moment. In fact, Jharkhand has voted in the pattern that they usually have in the last few elections. It's not an aberration, either very high or very low as far as the rest of the elections are concerned compared to 2019 or even before that. Thank you, Prabhakar, for joining me. Punjab, 4 very crucial seats, bypolls there as well. Let's not forget these small, elections. The bypolls also make a large impact in the narrative for many states. And in Punjab, where the Aam Aadmi Party was not able to perform very well in the Lok Sabha elections, Gurpreet, for them it will be a prestige fight.
Definitely, because it's a mid-term litmus test of Aam Aadmi Party government, and the way they have been claiming that they had made a lot of development in the state. If they are able to get mandate in these bypolls, then it seems whatever the policies they are making and they are implementing, the people have accepted. At this point of time, what we can see from the political calculation earlier, in the 3 seats, the Congress was able to win the election. So that's why it's a more challenging for Aam Aadmi Party. Aam Aadmi Party was able to win in Barnala earlier, and this time we have seen in the 4 constituency where these elections are happening, out of 3 constituency where we have seen the Congress was able to win the election. Now even for the Congress it's the prestige battle. If we can talk about Gidraba seat, we have seen Congress chief's wife is contesting. On the other hand, from the BJP, former finance minister is contesting. At the same time, Dimpy Dhillon, Hardeep Singh Dhillon, who was one time close confidant of Sukhbir Singh Badal, and he was a Akali leader, he is contesting from Aam Aadmi Party. So let's see, because we have seen since morning the trend was going from one party to another party. Once the result will be out, then there will be more political calculation how the things will be unfolded for the ruling government, whether there will be tough fight in the coming days for the ruling government or not. That will be clear from these bypolls result. We have to wait and watch till the result will be coming out. But as of now, we have seen all the leaders, they have been claiming they will win the election, and they will be able to get maximum mandate from the people. But the results will bring more transparency and clarity which party and which leader will be able to
all the political parties, every candidate, every player has the legitimate right to claim victory till 23rd. Because everybody wins the election till the time the polling, the counting of the votes starts, and then we actually know who wins, who loses. Thank you so much for joining me. Let's very quickly now start one by one, and I'll go to my guest, because 6:30 is the Election Commission stipulated time for the exit polls. Like we keep saying on NDTV, we never do exit poll. We always do poll of polls. And, people should take the exit polls with a statutory warning. It's like with a pinch of salt. And recent track record will tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that a lot of people have burned their hands and reputations in this exit poll business. But at this moment, without, in fact, talking about who wins, who loses, Pradeep Bhandari, let me start with you. What are you looking forward to with both these elections? What will be the key important features for the Bharatiya Janata Party, the broad strokes? Because it has been a very, for the lack of a better word, a very, very bitter campaign both in Jharkhand and Maharashtra. Now all that is over. What is it that Pradeep Bhandari from the BJP is looking forward to?
Well, Ankit, good evening to the viewers of NDTV, and thank you so much for having me. Well, Ankit, whatever we are collecting from the ground, we are very confident that both in Maharashtra and Jharkhand, we will be forming a comfortable majority government under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And there are very simple reasons which makes me believe in the party, believe that we will be doing so. In Maharashtra, if you observe, Ankit, in 2024, when there was a slight dip in the seat share which we got, the vote share of the Bharatiya Janata Party was intact at more than 25%. As of right now, with the welfareism of Ladki Behna and the massive campaigning of Honorable Prime Minister and a very organic alliance between the BJP, Eknath Shinde ji and Ajit Pawar on 287 seats, we are confident that in a micro contest, which is very, very important on a seat-by-seat basis, Prime Minister's leadership and welfareism will, and also pro-development, will have us through home in Maharashtra. Whereas if you look at an alliance partner, it is not an organic unity, and which with the number of rebel candidates also which are fighting. So I am looking at a pure development vote in Maharashtra. Coming to Jharkhand, Ankit, if you study the vote share of the Bharatiya Janata Party, even when we did not form Jharkhand, even when we did not form the government, our vote share has always been more than the vote share of JMM. This time we are in an alliance with AJSU, and we are at a vote share of more than 30%. Last time we did not get a single seat in Kolan. We are confident to make a good seat dent in Kolan, so we are comfortably home in Jharkhand too. With respect to Uttar Pradesh, the thing which I will be observing, Ankit, is the SC vote, which is significantly more than 40,000 in roughly 60-70% of the seats. Last time, because the fake narrative of the opposition, it had dented us a bit, but this time we are confident that this vote will shift towards us on the
Pradeep, may I just ask you very quickly, and please, because I'll have to take the opening remarks from my other guest as well. Between 2024 Lok Sabha election, and let's specifically talk about Maharashtra at this moment, and now, does the BJP hope that the anger that the people had shown at that point of time, because largely the narrative after the 2024 Lok Sabha election was that people did not largely like the breaking up of the parties and so forth. There was sympathy for Sharad Pawar and Uddhav Thackeray that worked against the BJP. Is the hope that the Ladki Behna Yojana has overcome that sympathy? There is change, the anger has dissipated. Is that the hope for the BJP?
Well, Ankit, I would respectively disagree on that conclusion. For us, the 2024, because our vote share was intact, we did not dip in the vote share. So yes, the Samvidhan Khatre narrative marginally impacted us, but it was not a wave of sympathy for the opposition or a pro vote for the opposition. We still believe that the way we corrected and self-corrected in Haryana between the Lok Sabha elections and the assembly elections, we've done better correction and in fact similar correction in Maharashtra. This is what makes us completely confident that with women voter, which is the swing voter which we've seen in every election, we will be comfortably home in Maharashtra.
Mahesh Chavan, is this an election that finally answers the question which is the real NCP? Because, unlike the Shiv Sena, Mr. Ajit Pawar has to use the symbol also with a disclaimer. So the best case scenario for Mr. Sharad Pawar possibly would be to establish himself as the real NCP, but the fortunes in this election would not rest only on one party. You are also dependent on your partners and how they perform.
Yes, exactly. In Lok Sabha elections, people of Maharashtra have proved which is the party, which is the original party and which is a fake party. See, secondly, what I would like to bring to your notice is, in respective of the so-called development claims from BJP and Mahayuti, people of Maharashtra have voted for the MVA in recent Lok Sabha elections, sending a clear message to the Mahayuti. Now, having received this setback, Mahayuti has started getting that feel of discontent from people of Maharashtra, and that is why they resorted to tactics to, mislead and appease the people of Maharashtra, and Ladki Behin scheme is one of them, I believe. But at the same time, you should offer help to people who need it, who are the needy. They should get the help, no doubt about it. But at the same time, what about the safety and security of the Ladki Behinas in Maharashtra? In last 2 years, more than 67,000 women have registered atrocity cases. More than 64,000 women and girls have been missing. If you look at the farmers' distress, it is more than 20,000 farmers who have committed suicide because they are not getting the MSP to their produce.
Right.
All these things together,
Right. I request all of our guests to stay on with me. I have to take a very quick break. Some commercial consideration as well. 6:30 is when, if there are exit polls which are coming in, we'll notify you whatever the exit polls are saying. But we are coming back. Our discussion continues here. One discussion also would be how seriously should you take the exit polls. We'll coming back. Stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. Coverage continues here on NDTV.
Download any single ID partner app, link your card and earn reward with top brand.
Get it free with single ID.
NDTV proudly upholds its legacy of trust and credibility. According to the prestigious Reuters Institute's Digital News Report 2024, NDTV is the top-most news platform in the country. #1 in both online and offline reach in India. beating all its competition. NDTV stands for trust.
Hello and welcome to India Sense, where I speak with global opinion makers.
The United States has made a strategic decision over the last 20 years to move closer to India.
So a $7 trillion economy seems a perfectly conceivable number.
If you want to be a national party, it's that you sort of accept the way the world is rather than want to endlessly hark back to how it was.
Modi is promoting the digitization of the economy, which is accelerating growth in the country.
I want to thank the American people for the extraordinary honor of being elected your 47th president.
Donald triumphs. What does Trump's win mean for America, for the world, for the wars, and for India-US relations? Non-stop coverage on NDTV. Top analysts and voices from the ground. Extensive coverage on NDTV.
We reached an agreement on petroling. We have gone back to where the situation was in 2020, and we can say with that the disengagement process with China, you can say, has been completed. The understanding, to my knowledge, is that we will be able to do the petroling which we were doing in 2020.
तालियों के साथ हम स्वागत करेंगे आदरणीय मोदी जी का।
छत्रपति शिवाजी महाराज की।
Corruption first on the agenda and nation first.
घोषणा आणि जनतेचे पैसे लुटणं.
कट कमिशन आणि करप्शनला आमच्याकडे थारा नाही. त्यांचा परिवारवाद आमचा महाराष्ट्रवाद.
महाराष्ट्रामध्ये 1,75,000 जागा रिक्त आहेत. मग का भरत नाही? राज्याची जनतेच्या घमाच्या पैशाची तिजोरी लुटण्यासाठी हे सरकार आहे.
पूर्वीच्या सरकारच्या काळामध्ये निधी देताना त्यांना असं वाटायचं की त्यांच्याच खिशातले पैसे चालले. शेतकऱ्यांना मोफत वीज देण्याचं काम आपल्या सरकारने सुरू केलं.
Welcome back. This is NDTV, and the Battle of the State continues. In fact, it's curtain on at least 2024 Battle of the States with Maharashtra and Jharkhand. The voting there over. And we are at this moment just about starting with the numbers which will start now trickling in. The stipulation from the Election Commission is 6:30 for the exit poll numbers. But as always, take them with a lot of caution and with the recent track record. Hitesh Jain, would you be in any way be enthused by the whole exit poll scenario from not just from India and even in United States? Polls after polls have got it wrong. But specifically speaking about what's happening in Maharashtra and Jharkhand, how important is this election for both players?
See, one has to look at the data also. As I was looking at the numbers, by the time it was 5 p.m., it was almost 58 to 59% of votes were polled. In the Lok Sabha, roughly around 61% were polled. And I was looking at the data of 2019 assembly election. At that time also, roughly, it was a 61% polling that took place. By all indication, it appears that the polling in Maharashtra may exceed 63. I will not be surprised if it comes to 65%. Now, if the polling is going to increase, and if it is going to be an increase of almost 2 to 3% of the overall polling, then I guess we can get the direction. But as you rightly said, looking at the track record of the exit poll, I will not like to comment on the numbers, but perhaps like to have a look at the direction, because directionally sometimes the exit poll does tell you some story.
Aarti Jairath, forget about the exit poll for a moment, but in Maharashtra, what is at stake for both these alliances? It's been a bitter fight. And interestingly, nobody is comparing this election of Maharashtra, the Vidhan Sabha election, because you compare apple to apple, so it will be 2019 Vidhan Sabha compared to 2024, but the comparison is not there. People are comparing it with what happened in 2024. That is being taken as the benchmark because the equations from 29 to 2024 have changed dramatically.
Completely, absolutely. I mean, where there used to be 2 alliances with 2 parties each, that's 4 parties in the fray, you have 6 today. Plus you have a whole lot of small, smaller parties, individual players, independents and so on. And in fact, I think this is the highest number of independents that Maharashtra has seen in a long time. And I think independents will make a difference because, the elections have become so fragmented that you're looking at it really constituency to constituency, where individual candidates, ideology doesn't matter anymore now after the splits have taken place, because there doesn't seem to be, any kind of real big ideological
because in
divide.
both the alliances, you will have both kind of ideologies,
Absolutely.
somebody representing that.
That's right. So the ideology is not the issue, I think, and that therefore the party doesn't matter so much. It's the candidate that matters. And, then it becomes very difficult to make any prediction. So, I mean, I really, feel very sorry for any exit pollster who's trying to make a prediction today on what's going to happen in Maharashtra.
It will be difficult to stick your neck out at this moment. But Sanjay, if I may bring you in, this was, and interestingly, it was dramatic right till the end. Yesterday, we saw what happened with Mr. Taure. Then, of course, there was this whole question about cryptocurrency that crept in, Bitcoin. Supriya Sule and Nana Patole were on the target for that. What does that mean? Does it add to the confusion of the voters? Because like Aarti was saying, at this moment, ideology doesn't seem to be the binding glue in either of the alliances.
Ideology has actually become very fluid. You take it as you want it. The fact remains about yesterday's 2 kind of dramatic situations that we saw, A, relating to Vinod Taure, and later at around 10:20, 10:30 BJP press conference. Very interesting things happened, gave a lot of talking point yesterday, surprisingly not so much this morning. And therefore you can make an assessment that these were things which was to give a talking point to respective political parties in the morning to Maha Vikas Aghadi leaders, or to talk about BJP and Vinod Taure in particular, since he is party general secretary. But I don't think that actually impacts voter mindset as to who he or she is going to vote next day, or the way they voted today. If you see, this is similar things have happened in Delhi relating to Arvind Kejriwal. When some expose had come, did not impact Kejriwal. There was this collapse in, bridge collapse in West Bengal. And subsequently, there was also some kind of expose relating to Trinamool Congress about some scam, which I'm exactly forgetting which one, that actually did not impact. So I don't think that is actually going to impact the voting pattern which has happened today.
Okay.
Having said that, these are also for records. So tomorrow, if A particular party wins or B particular party wins, so day after tomorrow, whichever political party comes into power in the state or even outside, don't forget Parliament, winter session of Parliament starts on 25th. So immediately after result, this heat of the electioneering and the result will translate into the narrative shaping, the kind of arguments and counter arguments that are going to be made from 25th when winter session of Parliament opens.
Absolutely, because, whatever happens in the result, and Pradeep Bhandari, let me bring you in on this. I mean, is there a sense that if the Bharatiya Janata Party, and after winning Haryana, if the BJP is able to win, the alliance is able to win both Maharashtra and Jharkhand, does that then give BJP that sense that 2024 election was an aberration? It's not that the Modi charisma has diminished or the BJP is on a downslide, at least the narrative that the opposition was building. It practically is BJP once again feeling 400 par.
Well, Ankit, what I can tell you is that for us, even the 2024 elections, if you look at it, a government repeating for the 3rd consecutive time has never happened in the last 50 years. So for a lot of individuals in the media, they would have looked at the analysis of the 2024 verdict with the, I would say, jaundiced point of view. We always were confident that in 2024, policy-wise and implementation-wise, we were as confident as in 2019 and 14, and this is why our vote share even 2024 was similar to what it was in 2019. So any of our policy initiatives that we intend to implement in run-up to 2029, I do not believe that election result of a state has any impact on it. Definitely a victory gives us confidence, helps us know that our work is reaching to the voter. And we are, again, I will reiterate, Ankit, in just 30 seconds, that why we are very, very confident on Maharashtra, because we've worked on the ground in Maharashtra, and it's just simple thing. We've built Atal Setu, we've built Mumbai Metro, we've built Samruddhi Marg, we've got 10 lakh houses, we are in Maharashtra is number one in the GDP, 52% of the FDI, 8 lakh crores of worth infrastructure projects, 77% of employment of MSME generated. So the list is endless. Okay. And on top of it, we have more than 2 crore women benefiting through Ladki Behna Yojana, and all of this is as per the vision of Prime Minister. So we are asking vote purely on the basis of development in Maharashtra and Jharkhand, like we've asked in 2024 and in all successive elections. So development falls our main part. Pradeep, and yes, a victory in Maharashtra and Jharkhand will give us a boost in terms of confidence for our policy initiatives in the days to come.
But Aarti, it's always, like we say about the BJP, it's just not what Pradeep is quoting, the figures and the numbers and the development. I mean, it is also a mix of then what you see, batenge to katenge, and that kind of narrative as well. Infiltration narrative in Jharkhand. So it's a cocktail that the BJP tries and uses as far as elections are concerned. Development plus Labharti plus this, which many will call a very polarizing narrative.
Right. That's right, absolutely. And the BJP does this in every election. They have this nice mix, you know. They'll talk about development at times. They'll talk about, you know, batenge to katenge kind of thing at times. So, you know, they have something for everybody. And you know, that's perhaps why they are so difficult to pin down on anything. But to get back to the question that you were asking, Pradeep, you know, for the BJP, given that the results will be out just 2 days before the winter session of Parliament begins, if the BJP wins both the states, I think it gives them a huge boost, really, in the winter session. It gives them a boost, you know, firstly, as far as their allies are concerned, because, you know, then they are still back again as being top dog. Secondly, it gives them a boost as far as the opposition is concerned, because, you know, and particularly if you look at Maharashtra and Jharkhand, if the Congress, if the BJP actually whips the Congress like it did in Haryana, because a lot of contests in Maharashtra are Congress and BJP.
That's right.
You know,
especially in the Marathwada and the Vidarbha region. I mean, that is going to be a
absolutely. Yeah. So, you know, I mean, the kind of fire and brimstone that we saw from Rahul Gandhi when, you know, post the Lok Sabha elections, I think the BJP is going to be very energized to, you know, kind of counter that. And, you know, it's going to put the Congress and the opposition in a bit of a spot. On the other hand, if the opposition actually pulls off a victory in both these states, then, you know, Parliament is going to be very fiery, like it was post the Lok Sabha.
There will be a renewed confidence on both sides. Will give a fillip to either side which wins, because after the debacle of Haryana, the opposition would be hoping for the best. But there is some breaking news coming in at this moment. I have to very quickly shift to this breaking news, which is coming in on India and China. Important news, in fact, coming in. The defense ministers of India and China, in fact, this meeting that we are talking about, the India-China defense ministers meet. Let me go across to my colleague Vishnu Shom, who's joining us at this moment with more details. Vishnu, this is a very significant development.
Defense Minister Rajnath Singh has been in Vientiane and Laos at a meeting of the ASEAN defense ministers, and he's had a meeting with China's defense minister, their new defense minister, Admiral Dong Jun, and he's called for the importance of ensuring that there is tranquility along the line of actual control. One of the key points which has emerged, and this is what the government of India has released just now, is that Rajnath Singh has called for reflecting on the lessons learned from the unfortunate border clashes of 2020, taking measures to prevent recurrence of such events and safeguarding peace and tranquility along the India-China border. This comes at a time when there's been a disengagement process between India and China, which has started all along the line of actual control in eastern Ladakh. But the fact that you've got the defense ministers meeting, it comes shortly after the foreign ministers have met. The foreign secretaries had important meetings as well. Also, meetings which have taken place among the leadership of the two countries. This is particularly important, and it is another step towards a larger disengagement between Indian and Chinese forces. Now, what the disengagement that we've spoken about so far refers to soldiers who are in eyeball-to-eyeball contact, moving away from areas to ensure that, or to allow Indian soldiers to patrol in all of the areas where we've been prevented since 2020. But it's, talks like this between defense ministers that actually allow a more substantial disengagement to take place when the tens of thousands of soldiers on either side can actually move back further. So an important meeting that's just taken place.
Vishnu Shom, thank you so much for joining us with all those details on this important news. We are slipping into a very short break. We have got some numbers of the exit polls coming in. Once again, with a warning, NDTV does not do any exit polls. There are some pollsters which are in fact putting out their numbers. For discussion's sake, we'll get you the exit polls in just a short while. Stay tuned. Our guests are with us. We'll continue our discussions on these numbers after a short break. Coming back.
It's a web of frauds, calls, luring emails, threatening messages. Cyber frauds have cast their net wide and everyone is at risk. We track the victims, their horror stories as they get conned online, extorted and robbed of their hard-earned money. How to identify a cyber fraud and how to stay cyber safe. What are your options? Fraud.con, NDTV initiative for cyber safety. Only on NDTV 24/7.
I've been reporting on all issues big and small from Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, rest of South India, bringing you all the action, all that you need to know, all that you want to know.
The energy of Maximum City is infectious. I bring in that energy in our news coverage from financial capital Mumbai.
India's IT capital is always buzz. It's literally a city that never sleeps. And I keep you ahead on all the Bengaluru buzz.
Covering from the southernmost part of India over the last 23 years, I bring in-depth and 360-degree coverage from the Dravidian heartland.
The land of Mishti is also known for its bitter politics. I have seen much water flow under the Howrah Bridge, covering Bengal in all its vivid colors.
In today's interconnected world, India's voice is more crucial than ever. When India speaks, the world listens. At NDTV World, we are that voice, bringing you intelligent and insightful news from India and beyond. From geopolitics and diplomacy to economic shifts, migrations, tech disruptions, and the stories of our diaspora. We cover the news that shapes our global future. NDTV World, your new home for global news, is here.
I now request the Honorable Prime Minister to launch NDTV World and address the summit.
It was the grand launch of NDTV World by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. NDTV World, as he laid out his vision for the India century at the NDTV World Summit.
ऐसी सदी जिसमें भारत के प्रयासों से दुनिया में स्थिरता आए.
In the presence of those who are shaping our future.
मेरी तरफ से आपको ढेर सारी शुभकामनाएं हैं.
NDTV World, your new home for global news, is here. Stay informed and entertained with the new and updated NDTV News app. You can watch all our channels live, listen to podcasts, read breaking and exclusive news from around the world and more. Download the NDTV app today and get access to the best journalism and storytelling on your smartphone or tablet. The NDTV app, news that matters to you.
Okay, as promised, and once again with the caution, these are not the exit polls that NDTV is conducting. These are polls being conducted by various agencies. We are just putting out their numbers at this moment. 2 exit polls have come out. Matriz is giving in Maharashtra a clean sweep to the NDA, to the Mahayuti. 150 to 170 for the Mahajuti according to the Matriz exit poll, 110 to 130 for the Mahavikas Aghadi, and 8 to 10 to the others. So a victory, a very, very clear victory, in fact, more than a comfortable majority there for the Mahajuti according to Matriz. People Pulse is another polling agency which is giving a complete sweep in Maharashtra to the Mahajuti, 175 to 195 seats. I mean, this would mean that it's all guns blazing. The BJP, the Shinde Sena, Ajit Pawar, all of them have been firing all cylinders, while the Congress and the Sharad Pawar NCP and Mr. Uddhav Thackeray are finding it very tough to repeat the performance of the 2024 Lok Sabha elections. These are two polls, both at this moment giving an indication that it's a comfortable, clean sweep for the Bharatiya Janata Party-led Mahajuti in Maharashtra. Let me also bring the numbers for Jharkhand. Both these polls have given the numbers for Jharkhand as well. In the 81 seats of Jharkhand, Matriz is predicting victory for the NDA with 42 to 47 seats that they are giving to NDA in Jharkhand. Meanwhile, 25 to 30 for the India bloc led by the JMM. On the other hand, in Jharkhand, the People's Pulse is giving 44 to 53 once again to the NDA, and 25 to 37 to the India Alliance. Pradeep Bhandari, you will look at these numbers, and I'm saying it again, people should take it with a pinch of salt with the recent track record. But at this moment, you'll rub your hands in glee.
Well, Ankit, what I can tell you for sure is that what we are collecting from the ground, we respect individuals who are doing exit polls. They can go right and wrong. They should just be transparent about how do they do their process, whether they get it right or whether they get it wrong. But we are confident that on the ground, it's a pure development vote as per the vision of Honorable Prime Minister. We do not be surprised that in Maharashtra, the exact number when it comes on the 23rd surpasses the current mean which the exit polls are showing, because we understand that the exit polls might be conservative in their outlook considering the debacle in Haryana and in the Lok Sabha elections, and generally the exit polls are somehow think it twice whenever the Bharatiya Janata Party is forming government. So if you ask me honestly,
slack. I mean, what else will they give you? People's Pulse is giving you 195. It's a complete sweep. I mean, if
I'll tell you,
it's a 400 par
I don't
scenario.
think it actually is the 400 par scenario. I don't think that they can be conservative.
Aarti would remember, Aarti.
Yes, Pradeep.
I will tell you, Aarti would remember that in Madhya Pradesh, Aarti, if you recall and remember in Madhya Pradesh, when the Ladli Behna Yojana was there, a lot of people said it might be an edge-out victory for the Bharatiya Janata Party, but it ended up being the most historic verdict for the Bharatiya Janata Party in Madhya Pradesh. So what I'm saying, do not deny the possibility that it can be in Maharashtra a very significant majority for us as an alliance,
even if
not
these
a
numbers
slender
hold
majority.
Just
I'm saying it not be just above
majority.
Let me get a reaction from Mr. Chavan. Mr. Chavan, I totally get it that you would not at this moment believe these numbers, and I'm also saying that exit polls may go wrong, but sir, for argument's sake, because we have these numbers at this moment in front of us, if this holds true on 23rd, this is game over and pack up for specifically for the two parties which are fighting, whether they are the legitimate Shiv Sena and the NCP, if these numbers hold true, sir, including yours.
See, first of all, with due respect to the efforts and hard work done by the, for getting these exit polls, I would again like to bring to your notice that very well what happened during the Lok Sabha elections, right? So we would like to wait till the results are out on 23rd. And secondly, as you said about the parties, like two parties, Shiv Sena and NCP, people of Maharashtra have given a clear mandate during Lok Sabha elections, and it would be really interesting to see if these, for the matter of discussion, if these polls, exit polls come true, then in that case, these two parties like Shinde Sena and Ajit Pawar faction of NCP, how much success they are going to get. It's I believe in this, whatever the polls are out, I believe BJP's number would be more.
Okay, there is another poll which has come out, PMark. PMark is still keeping it competitive. 137 to 157 is what they are predicting for the NDA, though the direction is in favor of the NDA. 126 to 146 for the MVA. So if the higher value of the MVA holds and the lower value of the NDA, possibly that's the only scenario in which Mr. Chavan at this moment would be happy. But Hitesh Jain, very quickly coming to you now, like you were talking about, we should take them with a pinch of salt, but they are at this moment giving a very clear edge to the Mahayuti.
Well, I think so, because I was also on the ground. I was speaking to plenty of people. I have traveled extensively in Maharashtra during the polls. And one thing that was evident was the arguments that there was anger during the Lok Sabha and all. That had dissipated. There were only two issues people were discussing. One was the Ladli Behna Yojana on the ground and the development story. These are the two issues that were being discussed. Along with that, there was one emotional argument that was made by the Shiv Sena about the split of the party. But I don't think there were many takers, because what you could see was there was one synchronized alliance. And as far as the NBA was concerned, three parties were fighting separately. I don't know whether you saw one news that came in the morning, that today morning Praniti Shinde in Sholapur declared that they are opposing the Shiv Sena candidate and they are backing the independent candidates.
Right.
So as the results will unfold, you will see the story of rebellion and the story of internal sabotage between the three parties of NBA.
Absolutely, but we leave that analysis for 23rd, but it's interesting what these are saying. I am completely out of time, but last word to you, Aarti, the lone lady panelist on the broadcast at this moment. Aarti, if these numbers hold true, who has underperformed for the MBA? Is it the Congress, the weakling? Is it the Uddhav Thackeray? Or is it Sharad Pawar, if these numbers hold true?
Yeah, so let's put that in capital letters, if these numbers hold
Absolutely,
true.
and underlined
because
also.
It's just been so bad this year with two polls. But yes, I mean, if these numbers hold true, I would say that the Congress and the Uddhav Thackeray, faction of the Shiv Sena have underperformed. I still feel that in the NCP battle, Sharad Pawar is way ahead of his nephew. His nephew cannot claim that legacy from his uncle.
So basically, in the Congress versus BJP fight, if these numbers hold true by any means on 23rd...
It's Haryana all over again.
It's Haryana all over again. The nightmare begins. They have not been able to fire as far as these battles are concerned. I'm completely out of time. Thank you so much to all our guests for indulging in this exercise, which we'll know whether it's fruitful or not on 23rd of November. Thank you to all my guests. Thank you to you viewers. Our coverage here will continue. We'll put out these numbers, but once again, leaving you with that statutory warning. Exit polls often these days go wrong. Take them with a pinch of salt. Don't lose your sleep over them. Quick break, coming back. Stay tuned.
NDTV proudly upholds its legacy of trust and credibility. According to the prestigious Reuters Institute's Digital News Report 2024, NDTV is the topmost news platform in the country. Number one in both online and offline reach in India. Beating all its competition, NDTV stands for trust.
Hello and welcome to India Sense, where I speak with global opinion makers.
The United States has made a strategic decision over the last 20 years to move closer to India.
Now, a $7 trillion economy seems a perfectly conceivable number.
If you want to be a national party, it's that you sort of accept the way the world is rather than want to endlessly hark back to how it was.
Modi is promoting the digitization of the economy, which is accelerating growth in the country.
I want to thank the American people for the extraordinary honor of being elected your 47th president.
Donald triumphs. What does Trump's win mean for America, for the world, for the wars, and for India-US relations? Non-stop coverage on NDTV. Top analysts and voices from the ground. Extensive coverage on NDTV.
We reached an agreement on patrolling. We have gone back to where the situation was in 2020, and we can say with that the disengagement process with China, you can say, has been completed. The understanding, to my knowledge, is that we will be able to do the patrolling which we were doing in 2020.
तालियों के साथ हम स्वागत करेंगे आदरणीय मोदी जी का।
छत्रपति शिवाजी महाराज की।
घोषणा आणि जनतेचे पैसे लुटणं.
कट कमिशन आणि करप्शनला आमच्याकडे थारा नाही. त्यांचा परिवारवाद आमचा महाराष्ट्रवाद.
महाराष्ट्रामध्ये 1,75,000 जागा रिक्त आहेत. मग का भरत नाही? राज्याची जनतेच्या घमाच्या पैशाची तिजोरी लुटण्यासाठी हे सरकार आहे.
पूर्वीच्या सरकारच्या काळामध्ये निधी देताना त्यांना असं वाटायचं की त्यांच्याच खिशातले पैसे चालले. शेतकऱ्यांना मोफत वीज देण्याचं काम आपल्या सरकारने सुरू केलं.
The last elections of 2024. It's the battle for India's economic heart. An election that will decide Maharashtra's future.
Can the big brother BJP manage the competing ambitions of Mahayuti? Can the Red Book rally the voters once again for Congress and its allies?
So as Maharashtra's future trajectory takes shape, we report from the ground.
Two visions, two ideology, one verdict. An election where no caste chemistry can yield a perfect formula.
It's a state that is splintered with power battles. The big question, will Maharashtra poll outcome unify parties or divide them further? And who will emerge as Maharashtra's undisputed leader?
It's a web of frauds, calls, luring emails, threatening messages. Cyber frauds have cast their net wide and everyone is at risk. We track the victims, their horror stories as they get conned online, extorted and robbed of their hard-earned money. How to identify a cyber fraud and how to stay cyber safe. What are your options? Fraud.con, NDTV initiative for cyber safety. Only on NDTV 24/7.
I've been reporting on all issues big and small from Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, rest of South.
Maharashtra and Jharkhand go to the polls today. Maharashtra, the voter turnout is 58.2% till 5 p.m. For Jharkhand, 67.6%. We'll get to the highlights of the exit polls. Mumbai is slow in voting, but better than last time. Mumbai 49% voter turnout recorded till 5 p.m. Celebs lead the way as Mumbai shakes apathy. 9 by-elections in Uttar Pradesh and a face-off between Samajwadi Party and BJP. A teen girl is murdered in a Samajwadi Party bastion. Her family says she's killed for supporting the BJP, while Akhilesh Yadav claims that the police were preventing people from casting their vote. Punjab by-poll fierce fight on 4 seats. Gidarba is in the spotlight. The fight is between Manpreet Badal and Amrita Waring. In Tamil Nadu's Krishnagiri district, a lawyer hacked by a man with a sickle in the middle of the road with hundreds watching him. The victim rushed to hospital. India-China defense ministers meet in Laos. Rajnath Singh has met his counterpart today, and this is an important meeting coming after disengagement talks have begun between the two countries. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching NDTV. It was polling day today, both in Jharkhand and Maharashtra, and a lot is at stake for both political fronts. We'll take you through the highlights. In fact, exit poll numbers have started coming in. I'm Vasudha Venugopal. That's right, and I'm Gargi Rawat. In the next 1 hour, we'll take you through the major election predictions, the exit polls, but with not a pinch of salt, I'd say a bucket of salt, given what the track record of late has been of exit polls, much maligned. And we'll get you all the top analysts as well in studio to talk about the numbers as we await the 23rd, when finally all will be revealed and the numbers will be counted, when we'll know what was on the mind of the voters. Well, Maharashtra has voted. In fact, the state has recorded around 58% voter turnout, with Mumbai at 49% voter turnout, registering a slightly improved voter participation. Now, the battle in Maharashtra, where India's financial capital, Mumbai, is located, is particularly critical for the political future of the state. In the last 5 years, the state has seen 3 chief ministers and splits in 2 major opposition parties, multiple legal and political wars for symbols, defections, and changing political formations. It is the ruling Mahayuti, comprising of Devendra Fadnavis-led BJP, the Eknath Shinde-led Shiv Sena, and the Ajit Pawar-led Nationalist Congress Party NCP, versus the opposition Mahavikas Aghadi, that's MVA alliances Congress, Uddhav Thackeray-led Shiv Sena, and Sharad Pawar-led NCP. Remember, in the Lok Sabha elections, the MVA had emerged ahead of the Mahayuti, something they'll be hoping to repeat, Vasudha, but we'll just get you those highlights from the exit polls. 36 seats in Mumbai have been particularly important because this is where the Sena versus Sena battle will play out. Well, of course, the state in the last 5 years has seen shifting alliances, Gargi, and ideological clashes. But the campaign of the 6 parties in the fray this time was clearly centered around caste equations, welfare promises, and many emotional appeals. There were intense deliberations over seat sharing, allegations of running divisive campaigns, even accusations of using bitcoins, distributing cash for votes, that have been leveled by parties against each other. I think this is the first election where bitcoins have, featured in this way, but exactly. And we'll get you more details on that. But yes, very different regions, very different issues, lots of mini elections is how it was being described. 5 vast and diverse regions, Vidarbha and Marathwada known for its soybean and cotton problems, Western Maharashtra for its cooperatives, North for its onion prices, the Konkan region with Mumbai significantly accounting for jobs and infrastructure. Voting in Maharashtra has often been varied, which is why the post-poll play has been important as well. Talking about the other important states, a pitched electoral battle was also witnessed in Jharkhand, where the JMM-led alliance took on the BJP in the second phase of polling today. By-polls were also held in 15 assembly seats across Uttar Pradesh, Punjab, Kerala and Uttarakhand today. In Jharkhand, seats voting in the second phase concentrated in the Santhal Parganas and North Chota Nagpur regions. These are also regions, Gargi, which were completely critical for the formation of Jharkhand in 2000. And the campaign this time around was centered around tribal identity. We saw, top leaders from the Prime Minister, Home Minister, all leaders aggressively pushing this position regarding infiltrators from Bangladesh, illegal infiltrators who were responsible for decline in tribal numbers, also taking away land. Absolutely. So will these elections bring political stability to the state of Maharashtra, caste welfare, shifting loyalties or pursuit of power? What actually drove the voters this time in the state and in Jharkhand? How will the meta-narratives of welfare and tribal identity play out? Many questions there, and we do have experts in the studio with us to answer them. We have Neeja Chaudhary, senior author, senior journalist, and also Aditi Fadnis, columnist and senior author, senior journalist, joining us. Thank you both of you for joining us on this broadcast. Aditi ma'am, every time I think of Maharashtra, I think of your travels. I know this time you didn't travel there. So tell us, what are your big takeaways from the campaign? The exit polls are already showing. Right, and we'll get those numbers up already. If we just broadly take you through it, as you can see the numbers there, most exit polls are giving the NDA the edge or the majority in both states, in fact, from the looks of it. If we will go to each one of them one by one, but yes, go ahead. So what are the corrective measures that the BJP took specifically after the 2024 elections? Because that was a shocker for them. 9 on 28 seats. That was completely unthinkable for the BJP. But clearly there are some corrective measures that the BJP has taken, which clearly brought them back in the game, isn't it?
So the biggest, I think, is the Ladki Bahina scheme. Ladki Bahin scheme, even when the well before the election was declared and during the campaign, during the negotiations for seats, this was something that the Congress and the other parties felt would throw a spanner in the works. Before that, the narrative of betrayal, of family, of emotion, that was kind of ruling. After that, after this scheme, the government, the Maharashtra government gave a full 4 months installment of the allowance that it was going to promise. So 8,000 rupees for every household if you are in a rural area and eligible for the scheme is pretty good. It's quite a lot of
They
money.
made sure it got to everybody's accounts, Neerja, as you pointed out. But let's just take our viewers through the exit polls as they're coming in with all the health warnings, Vasudha, as we've seen of late of, exit polls getting it wrong. We just saw that in Haryana. But if we talk about the exit polls, Matriz has given out the NDA 42 to 47 seats in Jharkhand, and the India bloc, they've given 25 to 30.
And People's Pulse has given NDA 44 to 53 in Jharkhand, and India bloc 25 and to 37 to the India bloc. And of course, when you talk about Maharashtra, People's Pulse has given Mahayuti 175 to 195. The range is really huge here. And of course, Mahavikas Aghadi People's Pulse has given them 85 to 112. Matriz has given Mahayuti 150 to 170, and MBA around 110 to 130.
Now, PMark has really played it safe, 137 to 157 for Mahayuti, and 126 to 146 for MVA. And finally, People's Pulse for Maharashtra, given the Mahayuti 175 to 195 and 85 to 112 for the MVA. And if we average this out, in Maharashtra, the MVA is getting a maximum of 136, minimum of 122, while Mahayuti is getting a maximum of 185 and a minimum of 135, averaging at 157. So those are the numbers. We just got the times now. JVC exit poll also coming in. But before that, yes, Neerja ma'am, if you could also, talk about what you feel were the big highlights. I think all of you analysts have been talking about how there have been no very overarching themes in this election. Yes, Ladki Behna has been there that everyone has spoken about, but lots of almost like mini elections, like local elections taking place for various, for all the seats.
This time it was a very fractured politics. Number two, it was hyper local election, right to the ground level. And so many candidates, so many parties, that is very difficult for anybody to come to a conclusion. Now, I agree with Aditi that if there was, on this side was sympathy for Sharad Pawar and Uddhav Thackeray because their parties had been split, they had been betrayed. Number two, there was the Maratha factor. And Maratha, Muslim, Dalit has been a combination which has been a winning combination since Y.B. Chavan's time. For the Congress, then the NCP, and then the MVA in the recent election. Now, and the Maratha activist, Jharange Patil, more or less gave out a signal when he withdrew his candidates that he wanted Marathas to vote for MVA. Now, certainly this would make a difference in Marathwada and Western Maharashtra. But the force that could counter this, and I think if these results are right, and has countered it, are women. You saw women, I agree with you, Aditi. I did not meet a single woman, and this is very random, in the village, at political rallies, in Bombay, randomly talking Shivaji Park here, in Marathwada village near Aurangabad. Not one said, I have not received money. Okay. I have not received. They had all received money, and they received 7,500 for 5 months. And the Anganwadi setup, the ICDS setup, people said that they had worked very hard, they went over backwards, to get the forms filled. And they, in fact, the Anganwadi workers and the supervisors said, the women now feel closer to us because we have enabled this to happen. Okay. They think we've been instrumental. So that is one good thing that's happened. Of course, a lot of them wondered whether it would continue after the elections, whether they'd be the money.
That's what I've also heard, yes.
But the officialdom in Mumbai, they also talked about, they said, in the last weeks we have worked so hard. One of them said it has been a traumatic experience. but it showed that they can deliver. Our system is capable of delivering when they set their minds to it.
Right. Well, there's obviously a lot of pressure on the top to ensure it happens before.
And women said, our brother Eknath Shinde has made this possible. He will do more for us. They did not talk about BJP, Mahayuti, Sharad Pawar's, Ajit Pawar's party at all.
This is a question that we should ask Charu Pragya.
Before that, Vasudha, if you just see one more Access My India poll has come in for Jharkhand, it's gone the other way, whereas everyone else is predicting for the NDA higher numbers. This is predicting 25, and for the India bloc, it's predicting 53 for Jharkhand.
That is some change. Charu from the BJP, Charu Pragya from the BJP joins us. We also have Seema Malik from the NCP led by Sharad Pawar faction joining us. We have author Badri Narayan also with us. Charu, you've spent a lot of time in Mumbai as a child. Your father was there. Tell us, you understand Mumbai, but here a lot of us actually feel that this election was a lot about Eknath Shinde, the promise of Ladki Bahin Yojana. Where does the BJP stand in this, and how are you looking at gaining from this? Because last two elections it was the BJP with being the single largest party, 105 and 122 in 2014.
Yeah. Good evening, and thank you so much for having me on your show. It was heartwarming listening to Neerja ji speak right now, because this is information coming straight from the ground onto everybody's television screens, and honestly, this is what my party set out to do. And if we're able to achieve this, if we can have a neutral senior journalist such as Neerja ji endorse it, I couldn't be happier. The fact is that Bharatiya Janata Party and our alliance partners have always done their utmost best to make sure the lives of people improve every single day. And how do we do that? By providing the most basic things. Most basic things: housing, water, electricity, gas connections, health insurance, making sure that the environment is safe for women to go to work, making sure that the environment is safe for industries to come, for FDI to flow in. And all of this, I am happy to report, we have been able to do extremely well in the last 2.5 years. You mentioned that people are talking about only Eknath ji and there is no mention of BJP. Well, Eknath ji and BJP are one team. And it's not unusual for us to have another political party lead an alliance in a state. I'll take the example of Bihar, I'll take the example of Nagaland. It's the same in Maharashtra. Eknath ji has been an exceptional leader, and we have seen the state grow leaps and bounds only in the last 2.5 years in his leadership.
Yes, but going forward, NSP's numbers, what's being predicted by the exit polls, if you do see the Mahayuti emerging in the lead, this emergence of Eknath Shinde is a very popular, beloved leader, so to speak, as a chief minister.
Yeah. Yeah.
So going forward,
and I saw that myself on the ground. I was briefly in Mumbai recently. Whoever is better for the state. See, like I said, we are not hung up about who needs to lead the state. It has to be at that point of time, whatever is the correct decision. And I took the examples of Bihar and Nagaland to just endorse what I just said. Right. This time, whatever the exit polls are predicting, let me tell you this, we are going to outperform the exit polls. We will comfortably reach and cross the halfway mark. And we are looking forward to another 5 years of a very stable, very progressive Mahayuti Sarkar in Maharashtra.
Right. Seema Malik, in 2024 Lok Sabha elections, the NCP led by Sharad Pawar had the highest strike rate, winning 8 out of 10 seats. And this time there are 41 seats where there is a direct fight between NCP led by SP and of course NCP led by Ajit Pawar. How confident are you, and is this election a lot about legacy and also struggle for existence?
See, ma'am, we are very confident. And why we are confident? We are confident because this election, I think people will vote for the core issues of the Maharashtra. They are not going to vote for Batoge to Katoge. See, if the BJP is so confident that they are going to win, you have seen that cash story also yesterday, the way the cash was distributed and everything. So if they are so confident, then why they are using such divisive policies? And see, I am telling you, this election is based on the core issues. It was basically on unemployment, the way the projects are going out from Maharashtra to Gujarat and all these, the unemployment is there. a lot of unemployment and lost a lot of jobs are lost, almost 5 lakh or something. And there's you can see the inflation, how much inflation is there. And this is about the farmers of this thing. The price of soya bean and cotton is it really matters. It seems so many farmers are committing suicide, and these are the basic issues. There's so much of crime against women. You have seen. I think Maharashtra is second on this, and the law and order situation, the corruption, the way that statue falls. Everybody knows about this, and you see the way the Baba Siddiqui was murdered, and these kinds of the Facebook, all those things, the Facebook live murder and all those things are there. So
Baba Siddiqui's son is with the
going to vote
NCP,
for
Ajit
this.
Pawar. Let's also get in Professor Badri Narayan. I'd like to get in here and your comments.
And you see the financial status of the Maharashtra at present.
All right, so it's easy to say all these points sitting in in studios and talking about it, but it really what is on the ground, what are the people feeling, what appeals to them, that is the key. And Professor Badri Narayan so far has been looking at these exit polls as far as Maharashtra goes. It is giving the Mahayuti another term.
I think, actually, I begin my comment with a disclaimer that it is still exit poll. It's not a result, so it's very difficult to conceptualize. But I think already we have talked about it, that in Maharashtra there is one Maharashtra, there is a multiple Maharashtra, and there's a regional variations, caste variations, and at every level we see fragmentation within the homogeneous stereotypical community which we have formed. Suppose that Maratha, suppose that OBC, suppose that Dalit. 4 Maratha claimants are contesting in the same field for the Maratha voters. So in this situation, it can't be homogenized, it may be fragmented.
Right.
Similarly, 6 major castes of OBC are contesting together in one block for their power in the democracy. So that can't be in OBC. That will be also fragmented. But I already told in your channel in the day, I think it's Vasudha, that in this situation, only homogeneous things is the beneficiary, because it is creating a kind of community which works beyond the caste, beyond the community, and based on this beneficiary consciousness. And if this result is going to be true, it means the beneficiary worked even in Maharashtra, even in Jharkhand, and they work are not they don't speak much. They are very silent, because as I said, as far as they are getting things from the system, from the state, from the power, they are becoming silent and going and casting their vote on the booths. They don't talk.
How does the beneficiary work? In certain states, but not in 2024 Lok Sabha elections, the beneficiary did not work in Andhra and Telangana with Jagan Mohan Reddy, or for that matter, even KCR. But clearly, are we looking at also creating a social group that is caste agnostic, that goes beyond these expectations of ideology, loyalty, legacy? And you create
politics of this welfareism.
Yeah, and then the pursuit of power in a state like Maharashtra, where resources matter, is that the only thing there?
That's a very interesting question, and it's a very complex one. There are many questions in that one question. Certainly, I mean, what Dr. Narayan said about Jharkhand and Maharashtra is true. That the Maiya Saman Yojana in Jharkhand saw a greater turnout of women in the election. We don't know how they will vote. I think it's pretty not difficult to say which way they will vote. But that a tranche of a lot of money given all at once did make a very big difference in the election. I think hindsight will prove that. Yeah. If you look at the National Family Health Survey, you will find that the percentage of women who are doing mobile banking has gone up substantially. Percentage of National Family Health Survey is an extremely well documented and extremely under leveraged data collection. It gives you a whole lot of insights into the way women control family and control to a lesser degree, but also family finances. And this kind of money, when you combine it, look, you can give free food. How much free food are you going to eat? You can increase it, you can keep on increasing the time. There's a limit to it.
Yes.
But if you give people money in their bank accounts and also combine that with free transport, it pushes women into the labor stream, it pushes their employment possibility, and it also gives them that tiny bit of capital that they need in order to start work. So all these things I think are very important and have not been studied enough pan-India. Political parties are beyond the curve and they have understood that this works, but how exactly it works, that's something that needs to be understood thoroughly.
Right. Neeraji, we were talking about how this is such a critical election for the two regional, well now 4 regional parties, 2 Shiv Senas, 2 NCPs. What would a loss for the MVA mean to, that the grouping there to the, and we've also been talking about the impact this is going to have on the larger national politics as well.
Absolutely.
If you look at the, I can't see it fully, but if you look at the strike rate, Sharad Pawar's NCP has done as well as the Shiv Sena, almost as well as the Congress. If take a broad average of the different exit polls. If it's true, we have to keep qualifying by saying if it is true. So clearly Sharad Pawar is the real NCP. That has been established. That was established earlier also. The strike rate is also very high. As for the Shiv Sena,
38 and maximum 40 seats are being given.
As for the Shiv Sena, that is not the case. Eknath Shinde had a higher strike rate in the Lok Sabha election, and I think again, if this is right, he may well have a higher strike rate in this election also, which means one of the stars of this election and the hero, of course, for the women. This optic of Rakhi's, right from here to his wrist, that went viral, was a very telling one. And I think also he's a Maratha. Is this the birth of a new Maratha leader in Maharashtra?
But Teja ma'am, do you think that he's also, in some ways crafted his projection very well? Because, he's also, projected himself as completely accessible, somebody who has thrown the doors of Varsha open to people. In some ways, that's completely in contrast to what he's, claiming Uddhav Thackeray is. So is that also
Also, there is, I think we have to see, there is something, of course, Maharashtra is controlled by many, many families. Every district has a prominent political family. But this thing of, politics of entitlement, regional parties, Congress, BJP also is moving in that direction now of, giving,
as much as they decry
encouraging families, members of families. But somebody like Eknath Shinde comes, who's from a humble background, a fire in his belly, Sam, Dam, Dand, Bhed, clawing his way up. You use whatever means you have to, but get to the top and remain there. So that fire in the belly and the will to power, does that exist in the other parties which have had power, wielded power, whether it is, Uddhav Thackeray's or Rahul Gandhi or, all these, there are so many. These are only top names.
Right.
So I think that's a question also that needs to be asked. People say in Jharkhand, the Congress had 30 seats and 41 to JMM. There was criticism from JMM as well as RJD as well as from CPIML people. Did the Congress put its best foot forward?
Only 7 rallies by Rahul Gandhi and slightly more by...
not only Rahul Gandhi, but the
more
entire
rallies in
system.
Wayanad and all that was what was being talked about.
Yet you get a sense also, I must say this, that despite the Congress's not up to the mark organization, the people still want the party to revive as a counter to the BJP. Many places you see that. And anyway, the results will tell us the real picture. But
I just want to take off from that point.
Sure.
I think you are seeing a major reinvention of parties and their base in this election. In Maharashtra, Shiv Sena was seen as an urban party, which basically was a way of arbitrage by the political leaders to reach, various entitlements that the state was offering citizens. The Shiv Sena was a go-between. It used to be, and that's why it was so popular in Mumbai and surrounding areas. Now, the Shiv Sena is present in some campuses, it is present in some rural areas, and it has completely changed and transformed itself as a party. I'm talking about both factions of the Shiv Sena.
I was going to ask you which Shiv Sena.
So now, Shiv Sena is no longer the party that it was thought to be.
Yes.
It has dropped its Maratha for Maharashtra for Marathas image. It has dropped its very strong antipathy and rivalry and a sense of competition against the BJP. And it's become a very different grouping. So in the same way, many other parties have also tried to transform themselves. Now in Jharkhand, for instance, the tribal vote has split between Champai Soren and Shibu Soren's family. But that said, Kalpana Soren continues to be a very powerful, iconic image for young women in among the tribal.
She is the crowd puller, is what people say.
So, and if she says that, you know, this whole marrying Muslims and all, becoming fourth and fifth wives is irrelevant, tribal girls are going to listen to her.
Okay.
So it's a very interesting kind of change.
We have one more exit poll.
place.
Chanakya Strategies is giving NDA 152 to 160 and Mahavikas Aghadi 130 to 138, and they're giving 6 to 8 to others.
Right, Dainik Bhaskar is giving 125 to 140 to Mahayuti and 135 to 150.
Very close.
To
the range
the MVA, and something that I asked Nirja ma'am yesterday, but I'd like to get your opinion on it. Do you see a possibility or a realm of possibility that the NCPs could come together, the uncle and nephew could ever come together?
I mean, look, the human nature and human ability is and its resilience is one thing, but I think it's all gone too far now. It's too difficult for the two families now to reconcile, and for people to believe that they have reconciled. So frankly, if people don't believe it, then what's the point of reconciling?
Absolutely. So Maharashtra has voted today, and Jharkhand also. Exit poll numbers are coming in. We'll keep tracking that for you. Time for a short break. More news and updates on the other side.
Stay with us.
And I swipe it there, पाऊँ rewards, मैं everywhere, कहीं से भी करूँ collect, spend करूँ direct.
Download any single ID partner app, link your card and earn reward with top brand.
Get it free with single ID.
I now request the Honorable Prime Minister to launch NDTV World and address the summit.
It was the grand launch of NDTV World by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. NDTV World, as he laid out his vision for the India century at the NDTV World Summit.
ऐसी सदी जिसमें भारत के प्रयासों से दुनिया में स्थिरता आए.
In the presence of those who are shaping our future.
मेरी तरफ से आपको ढेर सारी शुभकामनाएं हैं.
NDTV World, your new home for global news is here. Stay informed and entertained with the new and updated NDTV News app. You can watch all our channels live, listen to podcasts, read breaking and exclusive news from around the world and more. Download the NDTV app today and get access to the best journalism and storytelling on your smartphone or tablet. The NDTV app. News that matters to you. NDTV proudly upholds its legacy of trust and credibility. According to the prestigious Reuters Institute's Digital News Report 2024, NDTV is the top-most news platform in the country. Number 1 in both online and offline reach in India. Beating all its competition, NDTV stands for trust.
Hello and welcome to India Sense, where I speak with global opinion makers.
The United States has made a strategic decision over the last 20 years to move closer to India.
So a $7 trillion economy seems a perfectly conceivable number.
If you want to be a national party, it's that you sort of accept the way the world is rather than want to endlessly hark back to how it was.
Modi is promoting the digitization of the economy, which is accelerating growth in the country.
I want to thank the American people for the extraordinary honor of being elected your 47th president.
Donald Trump.
Welcome back. Elections are over in the state of Maharashtra and Jharkhand. Exit polls have started coming in.
Right, and with a lot of health warnings and caveats and, you know, a bucket of salt, we're going to take you through the exit polls and what they're predicting for Maharashtra and for Jharkhand. So there you can see, let's look at the Maharashtra exit polls. Dainik Bhaskar giving the Mahayuti 125 to 140, MV is getting 135 to 150 there. So majority going that with the Mahayuti, you know, getting the maximum number of seats is what it seems in all the exit polls so far, Vasudha.
Absolutely, and in Jharkhand, it's only Access My India, which is giving India Bloc the edge here, and Dainik Bhaskar mentions People's Pulse and Times Now. JVC actually saying that it's the NDA that could be, you know, in a comfortable position to form the government in Jharkhand.
Right, if we take a look at Access My India, it's giving NDA around 25 seats, whereas all the other exit polls are giving for Jharkhand around 37 to 40, 42 to 47, and it's giving the India Bloc 53 seats. So that's the only one that's going the other way. There, it's on your screens there. You can see Access My India. It's the only one that's giving a different picture of Jharkhand compared to what the other exit polls are saying. But as we said, lots of you know, health warnings when it comes to exit polls. They've not proven to be the most reliable in recent years, and the track record one saw in the Haryana elections as well. Well, let's go across to the panelists who are here with us, and we have Dr. Badri Narayan also there with us, and we were talking about, you know, what the impact of this election would be on the parties in Maharashtra, on, you know, both the Shiv Senas, both the NCPs, and also the impact it's going to have on the larger national picture.
I think if this election goes in the direction suggested by this exit poll, then it will prove that BJP strategies and politics is in right direction. And they are going to prove, this is going to make stronger their claim for future performance in the elections, especially for for the next parliamentary election too. Because the strategy of the Congress and others, which was based on this politics of fear, which was around the constitution, around the reservation, is not working. It worked at some time. And secondly, sympathy votes, which was cultivated by the this Mahavikas Aghadi, has faded now. And thirdly, this election, so it will also establish that Shiv Sena, Eknath Shinde with BJP is the viable alternative, is a claim, is going to prove their claim for the Bala Sahab legacy and Hindutva politics.
Right.
So Hindutva claim is also going to be established by this election if it is going to in this direction. And you know, since these 3 months, they learned a lot, this MBA learned a lot from the last defeat which they got in parliamentary election. So they did many popular policies they brought to appease middle class, to women, to so developmental politics is also going to establish that developmental politics is going to win the elections of the coming days.
Right.
Not this kind of politics of hope and politics of fear.
Okay.
Politics of hope is generating by this kind of development of politics, and politics of fear by this kind of danger politics. So this kind of strategy is going to fail if this election goes in this direction. I think this kind of message will emerge, and the claim will be established by this kind of politics.
Charu Pragya, I wanted to ask you, has the BJP cracked actually what really went wrong with 2024 elections, coordination with the RSS, because that seems to be there. And more importantly, the welfare thing, the Prime Minister has been known to have been very critical of freebies, but, in every state the party has followed this template of income support to women, which also in some ways could be qualified as freebies by a section of people. Do you think that's a corrective measure that the BJP has consciously taken after 2024 setback?
So please allow me to correct you. Whatever is being called as a setback for Bharatiya Janata Party is actually not one. We have made the government in 2024 again, and we have done it with a very clear mandate of the people. Those who are still talking about that election actually need to open their eyes and look around them. This is history that was created with the same Prime Minister being sworn in after an election for the third time in a row. In fact, forget India, it has not even happened in any other major democratic country since World War II. So I don't know why 2024 is being called a setback again and again. But moving on from there, there is a very fine line between freebies and welfare schemes. And India is a welfare state. We need to be looking after our people. We need to make sure that the poorest of the poor are uplifted from the state that they are living in, and we are able to make lives better for them. And I gave an example of that when I listed out the basics that our party is focusing on. 25 crore people out of poverty in just a couple of years. So that's a huge achievement. So we have to also look at the coffers of a state, and that is where the difference lies. When you set out a budget, when you set out to make promises during elections, it cannot be made up in the air. It cannot be made in such a way that, okay, let me promise the sun and the moon and the stars right now, but God forbid if I actually come into power, I have no idea how I'm going to fulfill those promises. And Congress has shown that kind of irresponsible behavior in Karnataka, in Himachal Pradesh, when they were in power in Rajasthan. They believe in continuous borrowing from the centre.
Unfortunately, no one from the Congress has joined, before our
they make all kind
discussion.
of tall promises.
All right, Dr. Seema Malik, if these numbers hold what we're seeing from the exit polls, and it is another Mahayuti government, what would it mean for the NCP now? And again, I know you'll say that this is not going to hold, but really a time of reckoning for the NCP under Sharad Pawar.
See, ma'am, these are the exit polls only, so don't believe them so much. We have seen what happened in Haryana, and these are the numbers only, and we don't have to believe on them. And basically, you see the hypocrisy of the I think BJP. They used to talk about the welfare schemes. They have given the word revdiyan, and they used to criticize these things. Now they are playing on them only, I think. Whether it is Ladli Behna Yojana or something. So I think this is very this thing, what they talk and what they do. And see, we also know, and you see the financial status of the Maharashtra. They have got a 8.5 lakh crore of the loan, and they have got around 2 crores of fiscal deficit. Their DTP contribution has decreased. It is from 15.1 to 13 point something, and their per capita income of the
so, ma'am, you have also, at least MV also promised the same things, actually, enhanced a lot of these promises. If your alliance actually comes to power, there'll be questions asked of you as well, right? So, I mean, we're completely running out of time. We also have Sanjay Seth, who is a minister from Jharkhand, also an MP from there, MOS Defense, joining us. Thank you, Sanjay ji, हमसे बात करने के लिए. आज झारखंड की वोटिंग खत्म हो गई है. 2019 में बीजेपी को 25 सीटें मिली थी, और 2024 लोकसभा चुनाव में पार्टी जो है वो ट्राइबल सीटें जो है सारी हार गई थी. तो इस बार आपको क्यों लगता है कि बीजेपी अच्छा परफॉर्म करेगी झारखंड में?
देखो, आप इस बार परिवर्तन की लहर चल रही है. परिवर्तन इसलिए कि जेएमएम और कांग्रेस ने जो कहते हैं ना अपने वायदे पे एक भी वायदे पे खरे नहीं उतरे। एक एक वायदे पे इन्होंने मुंह मोड़ लिया। इन्होंने 5 साल पहले मुख्यमंत्री ने कहा था कि मैं पिताजी की कसम, शिबू सोरेन की कसम खा के कहता हूं कि 5 लाख नौकरी दूंगा हर साल, नहीं तो गद्दी पे लात मार दूंगा। न नौकरी मिली और न गद्दी पे लात मारा। इन्होंने ही कहा था कि 6-6 हजार रुपए बेरोजगारी भत्ता दूंगा, नहीं दे पाया, राजनीति से संन्यास ले लूंगा। न राजनीति से संन्यास लिया और न ही बेरोजगारी भत्ता दिया। इन्होंने ही कहा था कि 2-2 हजार रुपए चूल्हा खर्चा सभी झारखंड की बेटियों को देंगे, आज तक 2 रुपए भी नहीं दिया। इन्होंने ही कहा था कि बेटी की शादी में सोने का सिक्का हर बेटी की शादी में देंगे। सोना तो छोड़ दो, पीतल का भी सिक्का नहीं दिया। इतनी वादा खिलाफी वाली सरकार, इतना हसीन सपने, मुंगेरी लाल के हसीन सपने वाली दिखाने वाली सरकार, अब उसका काउंटडाउन नहीं, अब तो विदाई समारोह की डेट तय हो गई है। धूमधाम से 23 तारीख को इनकी विदाई होगी। और जो जो इन्होंने युवाओं के सपने जो चकनाचूर किए, और युवा जो है ना क्रोध में है। क्यों? उनके प्रश्न पत्र 25-25 लाख रुपए में बिके गए।
राइट।
उनको लाठियों से पीटा गया, उनपे मुकदमे दायर किए गए। आज युवा आक्रोश में है।
संजय जी, लेकिन हेमंत सोरेन जो हैं ट्राइबल नेता हैं, ट्राइबल मुख्यमंत्री हैं, उनका कहना ये है कि उनको जेल कर दिया गया था, वो एक साजिश थी, और ट्राइबल आइडेंटिटी को प्रोटेक्ट करने के लिए, साधना कोड को प्रोटेक्ट करने के लिए भी जेएमएम के वायदे हैं। आपको नहीं लगता है कि इससे जो है ट्राइबल्स जो है अट्रैक्ट होंगे, और चूंकि एक ट्राइबल नेता को जेल किया था, क्या उसका सिंपैथी नहीं मिलेगा उनको?
अरे भाई, किस सपने में जी रहे हो? कहाँ जी रहे हो वे? क्या वही एक ट्राइबल है क्या? हमारे पास ट्राइबल नेताओं की फौज है। और छूट, आप किसी को लूट की छूट नहीं मिल सकती। आप भ्रष्टाचार करोगे, आप बालू को सोना बना दोगे, आप कोयला, आप खनिज, आप सेना की जमीन, आप आदिवासी जमीन लूटोगे, तो क्या आपको छोड़ दीजिए ना? कार्रवाई तो होगी। जो जो एजेंसियां हैं, चाहे ईडी है, इनकम टैक्स है, सीबीआई, कार्रवाई करेगी। और फिर आप विकास का पैसा, जनता का पैसा, एक पैसा भी अगर आप इतर करोगे, तो ये मोदी है, मोदी हिसाब लेगा और जनता को देगा। किसी को लूट की छूट नहीं है। और यही तड़पन इनको है कि भाई अरे हमसे कौन कौन पूछेगा? भाई हमसे क्यों पूछना चाहिए? अब बताओ, पंकज मिश्रा मुख्यमंत्री के प्रतिनिधि 1500 करोड़ रुपए का खनिज बेच दिया। अभी उनका 2 साल बाद बेल हुआ है। अब बताओ, मुख्यमंत्री के प्रतिनिधि घपला करे। अब इनके एक भ्रष्टाचार की पूजा देश ने देखी थी, पूजा सिंघल, एक आईएएस अफसर थी, 20 करोड़ रुपए मिला, क्या छोड़ दिया जाए? भ्रष्टाचार का आलम देखा, इनके मंत्री हैं आलमगीर आलम, उनके 40 करोड़ रुपए उनके पीएस क्या मिला, छोड़ दिया जाए क्या? एक कांग्रेसी सांसद के यहाँ 350 करोड़ रुपया, छोड़ दिया जाए क्या? अरे कानून अपना काम करेगा। और जनता की अदालत में हम सब आए हैं। जनता ने परिवर्तन पे मुहर लगा दी है। और 23 तारीख को आप देखना, प्रचंड बहुमत से भारतीय जनता पार्टी के नेतृत्व में सरकार बनेगी।
So that is Ministers Union MOS Sanjay Seth was speaking to us about the party's prospects in the assembly polls that got over today. And Kargi, Jharkhand exit polls are very interesting because Access My India, of course, is saying that India bloc could be forming the government. But of course, Dainik Bhaskar says it's a close fight and no one could be getting majority. PMark also gives majority to India bloc. So clearly that's, and of course, there are other...
Right, and Access My India is the only one going against what the others are predicting and giving the India bloc a majority there. So interesting to see that. They've not released their Maharashtra exit polls, Vasudha, and I think they're holding it for the moment. Who knows, maybe that's also going against what the...
So Jharkhand, 2 of them are saying India, 3 of them NDA, and 1 of them saying that no one is going to get majority. That's what the situation is right
All right, Neerja ji, if your comments on what we saw on the campaign trail, all these slogans, let's go back to Maharashtra of batenge to katenge and ek hai to safe hai. What sort of, and the fact that within the BJP, you had leaders from from Maharashtra actually, saying that this is not something that we endorse here in Maharashtra.
The what jihad that Mr. Devendra Fadnavis talked about, I didn't find the kind of traction, that in the past.
Did it really
matter? In Maharashtra, I didn't find it to be the case, and I may be wrong. And it came towards the latter part of the campaign, in the hope that Hindutva card would work with the Marathas. And another thing is the Dalit. Dalit that went wholesale to the MVA last time, did the Dalit break a little bit this time? Because you see, last time it was the Arakshan khatam ho jayega, the reservations will end, the constitution will be changed, but that has not happened. So I particularly found
but
Dalit
also because they didn't get the numbers, so if it had to happen, or of course the BJP saying it's going to happen.
Women were very excited by the Ladki Bahan Yojana. Dalit women more than other categories of women that one saw. And people talked about widespread corruption in Maharashtra. Now, an anti-incumbency was there. And still, if despite that the Mahayuti does well, of course there is the organizational heft of the BJP, which is always there. But it makes me wonder that when ideology is given a burial by all parties, and power is the driving force to bring them together, even in an alliance, then why should not the voter say to himself or herself and be that much more transactional? Mujhe jitna ab mil raha hai, why shouldn't I take it? If 7,500 what I am getting, let me take it. Because I'm not going to get other things else, at other times, or get very little out of it.
Transactional to what level? We've seen the cash, controversy also denied by the BJP, or this Bitcoin cryptocurrency scam as well. And
let me ask Charu Pragya. Charu, batenge to katenge, ek hai to safe hai. Many of these slogans have been called as divisive, discriminatory, exclusionary, communal by the opposition. A section of voters might actually feel that, and they may actually say that this mobilized the minorities more than mobilizing your own voters. Do you see a threat of that happening this time?
I was actually thinking, how is it that these slogans didn't come up in this debate? Let me tell you something. A call for unity can never be looked upon as anything divisive. And the opposition will do well to remember that. It's a very simple thing. India needs to remain united in these troublesome times. And every single person who is a well-wisher of the country is going to agree with the slogan. The only ones who don't agree with the slogan are the ones who look for their personal benefit over that of a community, a society, or a country. And we have seen it time and time again from our childhood till date. वो पुरानी जो कहावतें होती हैं, when you make a fist, it's far stronger than just a single finger. The British used to say, united we stand. How is it that all those statements were never looked upon as divisive? And something as solid and as simple as this is called divisive.
All right, well, that brings us to the end really of our program. And once again, Vasudha, let's take the viewers through the exit polls. And I'd like to thank all the panelists who joined us and analysts. And we'll have to, meet again on the 23rd now to see, what really is on the minds of the voters. But yes, Vasudha, if we go through all these exit polls that have come so far, and again, all the health warning and a bucket of salt with that. But take a look at those numbers. Dainik Bhaskar, Lok Shahi, Marathi, they're all giving in Maharashtra the higher number of seats to the Mahayuti and lower to the MVA according to these exit polls.
4 to 5 of them giving it to Mahayuti, but the Jharkhand scene is completely different, with most of them actually saying that it's actually I think both of the, even Stevens, right? Like, there are at least 2 of them saying Jharkhand, and 2 of them saying it could be BJP, and 1 of them saying that nobody would get a majority.
That's right. So that is those are the exit polls, as you can see there, and this is what we do after elections are over. Talk more and analyze all the numbers more, and we'll meet again on the 23rd for counting. Thanks so much for watching. Goodbye from us.
We reached an agreement on patrolling. we have gone back to where the situation was in 2020, and we can say with that the disengagement process with China, you can say, has been completed. The understanding, to my knowledge, is that we will be able to do the patrolling which we were doing in 2020.
तालियों के साथ हम स्वागत करेंगे आदरणीय मोदी जी का।
छत्रपति शिवाजी महाराज की।
Corruption first on the agenda in nation first.
घोषणा आणि जनतेचे पैसे लुटणं.
कट कमिशन आणि करप्शनला आमच्याकडे थारा नाही. त्यांचा परिवारवाद आमचा महाराष्ट्रवाद.
महाराष्ट्रामध्ये 1,75,000 जागा रिक्त आहेत. मग का भरत नाही? राज्याची जनतेच्या घमाच्या पैशाची तिजोरी लुटण्यासाठी हे सरकार आहे.
पूर्वीच्या सरकारच्या काळामध्ये निधी देताना त्यांना असं वाटायचं की त्यांच्याच खिशातले पैसे चालले. शेतकऱ्यांना मोफत वीज देण्याचं काम आपल्या सरकारने सुरू केलं.
The last elections of 2024. It's the battle for India's economic heart. An election that will decide Maharashtra's future.
Can the big brother BJP manage the competing ambitions of Mahayuti? Can the Red Book rally the voters once again for Congress and its allies? So as Maharashtra's future trajectory takes shape, we report from the ground.
Two visions, two ideology, one verdict. An election where no caste chemistry can yield a perfect formula.
It's a state that is splintered with power battles. The big question, will Maharashtra poll outcome unify parties or divide them further? And who will emerge as Maharashtra's undisputed leader?
It's a web of frauds, calls, luring emails, threatening messages. Cyber frauds have cast their net wide and everyone is at risk. We track the victims, their horror stories as they get conned online, extorted and robbed of their hard-earned money. How to identify a cyber fraud and how to stay cyber safe. What are your options? Fraud.con, NDTV initiative for cyber safety. Only on NDTV 24/7.
I've been reporting on all issues, big and small, from Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, rest of South India, bringing you all the action, all that you need to know, all that you want to know.
The energy of Maximum City is infectious. I bring in that energy in our news coverage from financial capital Mumbai.
India's IT capital is always buzz. It's literally a city that never sleeps. And I keep you ahead on all the Bengaluru buzz.
Covering from the southernmost part of India over the last 23 years, I bring in-depth and 360-degree coverage from the Dravidian heartland.
The land of Mishti is also known for its bitter politics. I have seen much water flow under the Howrah Bridge, covering Bengal in all its vivid colors.
In today's interconnected world, India's voice is more crucial than ever. When India speaks, the world listens. At NDTV World, we are that voice, bringing you intelligent and insightful news from India and beyond. From geopolitics and diplomacy to economic shifts, migrations, tech disruptions, and the stories of our diaspora. We cover the news that shapes our global future. NDTV World, your new home for global news, is here.
I now request the Honorable Prime Minister to launch NDTV World and address the summit.
It was the grand launch of NDTV World by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. NDTV World, as he laid out his vision for the India century at the NDTV World Summit.
कैसी सदी जिसमें भारत के प्रयासों से दुनिया में स्थिरता आए.
In the presence of those who are shaping our future.
मेरी तरफ से आपको ढेर सारी शुभकामनाएं हैं।
NDTV World, your new home for global news is here. Stay informed and entertained with the new and updated NDTV News app. You can watch all our channels live, listen to podcasts, read breaking and exclusive news from around the world and more. Download the NDTV app today and get access to the best journalism and storytelling on your smartphone or tablet. The NDTV app. News that matters to you. NDTV proudly upholds its legacy of trust and credibility. According to the prestigious Reuters Institute's Digital News Report 2024, NDTV is the top-most news platform in the country. Number 1 in both online and offline reach in India. Beating all its competition, NDTV stands for trust.
Hello and welcome to India Sense, where I speak with global opinion makers.
The United States has made a strategic decision over the last 20 years to move closer to India.
So a $7 trillion economy seems a perfectly conceivable number.
If you want to be a national party, it's that you sort of accept the way the world is rather than want to endlessly hark back to how it was.
Modi is promoting the digitization of the economy, which is accelerating growth in the country.
I want to thank the American people for the extraordinary honor of being elected your 47th president.
Donald triumphs. What does Trump's
good evening. The economic heart of India has voted. The results in India's wealthiest state will set the tone for the future of Indian politics. If Mahayuti wins Maharashtra, then the Lok Sabha results, where the BJP was below the 272 magic figure, will be seen as an aberration. The Haryana surprise victory for the BJP as a result of its well-oiled election-winning machine. And if that continues in Maharashtra, then BJP and its allies would be aggressively dominating the political discourse going ahead. And if it is otherwise, then it does give the momentum that the opposition gained soon after the Lok Sabha results. But it did face a setback after the Haryana results. The first up, the exit poll numbers. The ruling Mahayuti will win the assembly polls in Maharashtra. That's what 4 of 7 exit polls are saying. 2 are predicting a hung assembly and 1 says a victory for Mahavikas Aghadi. Remember, the majority mark in the Maharashtra assembly is 145. Of course, the health warning here that the pollsters have often got